Shalom, everybody. What's going on? Well, shalom aleichem. Wa alaikum shalom, right? Some things I want to say about that, but that's not the video topic. How some of the terms that the Hebrews used were not actually Hebrew, like Anoki was an Egyptian term, and they got looked at and put into the Hebrew language and is looked at as a Hebrew language or Hebrew term, but it's not. But you can find it in the Hebrew lexicon, Anoki, but it's not Hebrew, it's Egyptian. So some terms, that's just something, a little gem for you. Um, but yeah, we say shalom aleichem and wa alaikum shalom, which is not actually Hebrew, but it could be considered Hebrew because we adapted. Um, but if you say if you're trying to say peace be unto you, I would say shalom la'at or shalom la'ata if you're a woman. Peace to you. You know. So it's just something to notice, something to take notice of. Also, I guess for brothers, if they well versed and stuff like that, they can know when they read the Torah that some of the what they need to know. I guess that I've just found out that some of the terms that we use in the Hebrew language and find in the Hebrew lexicon did not start out as Hebrew. Like I said, like you have ani and anoki. Both terms are used to say me or I am or I. But anoki and ani, two different languages. So, whatever the case, uh, anoki is Egyptian, and then ani is considered Hebrew. All right. But that's just a little side note, little gem for the brothers, to help them understand um, some clarity on some things. Um, I'm gonna talk about my wife, my wives, the Hispanic brothers are really needing me to talk about this, personal part of my life. Even though I talked about my wives a lot of times on social media, a lot. I like about 4 or 5 times. So many times I deleted some of the videos, because I'll be going too off. And then I got one on my Instagram page, and it ended up, cutting myself. I was going so long, the video cut off. It's crazy. I had a 2 bed, 2 bath in Baltimore, and came from work, and I just started, talking about my second wife. So like first wife, second wife, all this stuff. How did this stuff happen? So we're gonna go into it and talk about the first and the second. My first wife and my second wife. Now, what you need to know before we go into this is that I didn't want to be with either one of them. You know, both both of my wives were me giving them a fair chance. Um, my first wife was a Filipino. Her name was Jenny Rose Panner. Okay, she's mixed with Japanese. She's Filipino at the same time. Um, we would go to her father's house every Shabbat, every Saturday, Sabado, as you say, right? Every Shabbat, we would go to her father's house to hold the Shabbat. And we would be in a place called Ramblan, but we would be in Ajugan, as y'all say. I forget the accent, but I say Ajugan, how y'all say it, trying to say it right. Well, you'd be in a city called Ajugan. It's the inner city, like everybody's there, Ajugan. And then you go from Ajugan and you drive all the way up towards Calatrava, not Look. You go towards Calatrava and then you go past San Andres and then you get up to Acputlos. And then when you get to Acputlos, there's a family there on a nice patch of land and stuff like that. Got the rice field over here, whatever the case. And that was every Sabbath day we would go there. And we would, the sisters would come and they would do the reading and the commandment. I have it on my Instagram. My Instagram. I have it on my YouTube. A little snippet video of like one of what we do, a typical day, Sabbath day, at this family's house and what it looked like and things like that and what the family looks like. So I have a YouTube video showing them. So Carmela was the one young girl who she is a teenager. They was in high school, but every Sabbath day they would come, had their hair cut. They would have their tekalot, whatever. They had their head wraps and they would read the commandments. Carmela would read the commandments every Sabbath day. Nobody else wanted to take a chance at reading the Ten Commandments, and she would read it every Sabbath. And then after that, we would just do small little teachings, or we would do a small little lesson on something brief about the commandments and stuff like that. And then I guess supposedly they were supposed to graduate once they understand the commandments or whatever, and then he would mikvah them, and then they would get a baptism certificate that they can use, like if later if they wanted to get ID card or something like that. But also it's just they have a baptismal certificate. One of the sisters, I baptized. She lives in Little Oak. I baptized her. Like once I became a rabbi, I actually started doing rabbinic work with him. Started helping him do rabbinic work. He had different places and areas he had to go to, so I would do some of the areas, But because I didn't have money and I didn't have really transportation like that, I stayed in one area. So he had other brothers helping him too. But I was the one that I baptized one sister. So one sister is under my covering, only one of them, and she lives in Little Oak. I accidentally went to her house, taking the wrong Jeep, trying to get back to my house, and ended up at her house. Well, I'm like, how the hell? So that was a sign for her and me to like, okay, so the baptism wasn't a joke; it was a serious thing. I'm her covering, her protector, her spiritual covenant protector for her. You know, I guess because her husband didn't want to come to grips. But whatever the case, that's that. Just a little small little thing. But I did a lot of stuff there eventually. But it started off as I was just at school. But I graduated early, 2.5 years. I graduated early. It was supposed to be 3 years. I graduated early because I tested out because I wanted to prove that I knew what I was talking about. So Rabbi Simon Altav sent the Cohen. He sent Rabbi Roberto some test papers or something like that online, and he tested me, and then I tested out. And then everybody took the test. So I'm like, whatever, putting everything down, and some of the questions, it wasn't multiple choice questions. You had to really like answer the questions and give details. It's a lot of like intricate things that you typically wouldn't know, things that you wouldn't even find in a typical Torah, like, or clever things that you wouldn't think to identify, like they like tested you on stuff like that, like things you wouldn't identify or take notice of and stuff like that. Like for example, you know when it said that the Most High repented of doing this evil towards Israel for wanting to destroy them or whatever the case. Like you're supposed to notice that it was a misnomer, that he wasn't actually evil. You're supposed to know that some of the translations might be a little off, and you might need to, be able to think for yourself. So it was an intricate test. So it was like, dang, this test was like really like testing how you think or how you read the Torah, and if the Most High really was with you, helping you see things and stuff like that. So I tested out, passed all the questions, 100, and I started because the Roberto Fortu needed help. So then when I tested out, I started helping him with the rabbinic work, and I got like, because we in the Philippines, you don't got all this fantastic, intricate equipment and stuff in the island and stuff. So he went to one of the places and got a laminated rabbinic card and was like, "Yeah, you graduate. Here's your rabbi card." And I was like, I really appreciated it because I knew that was the best he could do in an area like that. But you still was underneath an organization that was through someone that I'm like, you just was in the Philippines with it, So I was like, all right, okay, and I was started. Then I held the pass. I did the Pesach for 20. I helped them do the Pesach for 2015. So some of the brothers did the butchering, the kosher work. Some of the brothers did other work. I helped them with the teaching. He did the Agada, and things like that. But we didn't do the whole Agada. We did some of the Agada because I had the children there. And then I made the decision for the younger children. I said, what? I got a movie for them. Got the Prince of Egypt movie. Got the children watching that movie. Some seen it, some didn't see it, and they were watching it. What happened on, what was the Pesach about? What happened at, all of that stuff. Like, wow, you get to see what this was about in the cartoon. So did that. My wife, Jenny Rose Panner, she did the Hebrew lesson. Because I was teaching her the Hebrew. She did the Hebrew lesson in the pictograph Hebrew, and explained the characters and things like that, and to the children and stuff. But Roberto Forti was shocked, like, what the fuck? Like, he looked at her like, wow, like, he was amazed that she was able to teach help me teach and stuff. And it made me feel good that, it made me feel real good about that. and they was just looking at me like, dang, so he's not just in there, he's not in there, he's not just in there having sex with her and stuff. He actually teaching her and stuff. So I got a level of respect about me marrying her. It was a level of respect from everybody. Like, yo, the way she dressed, the way she was looking, and things like that. It was helping everybody understand, like, yo, you know, and yeah. So all of that, we ate the Pesach, we ate this, we did all of that, man. And that was that. I prayed over the Pesach meal. It was always a thing. Everybody noticed that when I'm always the one when I pray, everybody can feel my prayers. No matter what assembly I go to, if I pray, people know that, yo, the way he be praying, he be connected. He really be. So he was like, Nakwa, want you to pray. Nakwa, he called me Nakah, but I said my name was Nakwa, but they just stuck with Nakah because the Kof also is a Ka sound. But I'm like, no, it's Nakwa. Please make the difference because Nakah is also another term. It's a evil term. I'm Nakwa. So he was like, they just didn't cleave to it. They just kept saying Nakah. I'm like, all right, whatever. So as long as you know it's a Kof. Anyway, um, so anyway, backing up. I'm back roading the hell out of y'all. Cause a lot of y'all want to know this information about my wife. But you gotta get through I want y'all to get through some stuff. Like, do you really care to know, or do you just wanna, you know, you wanna get through all of this holy stuff first? Like, man, I don't know what he talking about. Cut the video off, right? So you ain't gonna get the information. So, or try to skip it up. I'm gonna skip it up like a few minutes. Now I'm gonna talk like about 10 minutes before I get to it. So you won't skip up about 7 minutes. And I'm still talking about nothing. So anyway, whatever the case. Sorry. Sorry about that. Anyway, um, yeah. So let's just get into it. So let's get into it now. I'm gonna stop back roading y'all. Um, my first wife, Jenny Rose Panner, I met her in the Philippines, and I was not trying to get married, but I was just trying to take the schooling. Now, I did not know that it is a requirement after you graduate and become a rabbi that you be married. Otherwise, you cannot be given your qualifications or certifications and stuff because you're not married. I did not realize that, until later in when I learned that it's mandatory for you to be married in order to be a rabbi. You know, um, So Roberto Fortu was like saying that in one of the Shabbats and stuff like that, or in one of the Sabbath days, and I was like, what? I'm like, damn. I was like, man. I was like, well, I was thinking, well, just I really want to graduate and pass, but at the same time, I was like, I'm stuck. Like, how the fuck, who I'm gonna marry? He was like, yeah, I want you to marry this person because Jenny, her family wanted me to marry her, but I kept saying no. And I said no so much. And then he finally was like, yeah, because, in order for you to graduate. So he was trying to convince me to marry her. Like, and then that's like kind of carried me through. Now, my dumb tail didn't think to say, well, I could just wait till I find somebody. And then when I find somebody to marry, then I'll let you know. And then you can give me my certifications and stuff like that, but he wanted it to be all done there. I guess in front of him. I don't know what the reason was, but he was like, "No, Jenny is a good person. She's a good person to marry, and this, that, and the third." I'm like, man, I don't want to marry her. Like, I don't even know her. Like, I don't want to marry somebody I don't know. Like, what I just walk up on a girl, marry a girl just because she pretty. Like, the fuck out of here. Like, I don't know her. I'm like, is she even a virgin? Like, stuff like, oh yeah, she a virgin, but she wasn't a virgin. Maybe he didn't know she wasn't a virgin or not, but she wasn't a virgin. It's like, I'm like, man, she too young. She too young. But the whole time she wasn't even a virgin. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, now you gonna give me a girl that's not even a virgin, yo? And then it was like, what the fuck? It turned out seeming like a good thing, but ended up becoming a very bitter, sour thing. But yeah, I married her because the family just kept asking me to marry her and stuff like that. But I'm thinking they looking at like money or whatever. I was on disability SSI. I was supposed to still be on SSI. The thing was, I'll tell you that too in the story. The reason why my SSI actually stopped, but they try to paint it different, like to make it look like some other reason, so they don't want to give me my SSI back. So they painting it, you know. But I'm not supposed to actually have my SSI stopped. It's not a temporary disability. It's a permanent disability or a permanent. Like if I'm an old person and I'm just on disability, I get it for the rest of my life. Like my grandma, she's been on disability for a long time and never taken off. So it's a permanent SSI. I'm not stupid, y'all. I've been in America since '85. I know what is going on with the rules. I got parents and family members and I know they know the rules too. They tell me and stuff. Like nothing changed. I could just go to my grandma and ask her, did something change? Nothing changed. Talking about da, da, da. So y'all trying to tell me shit is stupid. Like I'm some immigrant or something. I got a green card or some shit. So um so I was on disability, because I had schizophrenia, seizures, and stuff like that. So I was never supposed to be taken off. My schizophrenia is not healable. It's not undifferentiated schizophrenia. It's schizophrenia of another class, and it doesn't go away. He said yours going to come back every year. You'll have episodes every year, you know, or frequently. So you're not going to be able to be off disability. And so that's what the lady said when I was in a hospital. I was in an actual mental hospital, and that's what she said. Yeah, like I said, I was in the military and I got injections and stuff. So after they injected me with the stuff, I started having, schizophrenia and seizures when in boot camp and stuff like that. So whatever the case, it stayed with me my whole life. So I was on disability that whole time, and I was since 2013. But in 2013, I was in the hospital, and then that's how I ended up saving money, and I went to the Philippines to go to learn the Torah and graduate, be a rabbi, things like that. So whatever the case, it wasn't supposed to stop. It just stopped because I stayed longer, and decided to make a different. I had two decisions that I had. The one decision I knew would have been a better decision, but I was willing to make the second decision, which might have been turn out to be not so good of a decision. The percentage level of that being a successful decision was very low, but I did it anyway, not expecting, you know, what I expected. But I did consider it that something could happen, and that's what happened. But um, I'll talk about it. But yeah, so I was with her, and I had my Navy Federal card or whatever the case, and my disability was coming through the Navy Federal. Now, on site, just by appearance, you'll think that, like, when she saw me with my Navy Federal card, her assumption, not knowing me, like, you just met me, right? You're trying to analyze and assess this guy at the same time you're with him. So you're thinking, oh, he has a Navy Federal card. First thing you're thinking is he's ex-military. You're not thinking ex-military. You're thinking he's still in the military, because why do you have a card? You don't know the rules of America. You don't know how America operates. So you're thinking, I got to be in the military because I got this card with this bank. Or else why would you have a Navy card and stuff? You don't know the rules. Now, if I'd have told her the rules, then she would have understood why I have it. But um, yes, I did tell her I was in the Navy before, but I'm not in the Navy anymore. And this, that, and the third, But I didn't tell her all the details. So it probably left you know, curiosity in her mind, and she probably played on those curiosities. But maybe she was thinking I had a lot of money or I was super rich or something. All kind of things you can think. You're 17, and I was not trying to talk to her. I'm like, why are you trying to give me a 17-year-old girl? Like, and he was like, well, over here, the rules are different about marriage and things like that. Like, and it was like nobody gave a F. Nobody cared. I'm like, none of y'all care. But when I found out she wasn't a virgin, I'm like, oh, I see why nobody cared. So then I started knowing how the Filipinos work. They'll start fucking the shit out girls at 3 years old. They'll have a sex with a little girl, 3 years old, tell her open her mouth, and have a guy just, teach her how to suck dick at 3 years old and shit. It's just so they can get some rice. You know, shit be like there be shit like that going on. Men be so fucked up. It'd be pitch black dark outside late at night. A bunch of motorbikes come rolling up. What the fuck going on? Drive. You on one part of the lane. Your wife telling you don't say nothing and shit. Like what the fuck going on? Like come on, man. It's a movie and shit. I'm like, what your father into now? Roll up and shit. Mad. You hear a bunch of language and shit. Next thing you know, niggas going crazy, saying this, saying that, yelling and shit. Next thing you know, they having a party, the music going, later shit, the music going. Next thing you know, something happened after the fact. Everybody this and that, comforting each other, fucking around, had sex with a 3-year-old girl and shit over something, whatever the fuck was going on. You know, nigga came up and killed your dog. Came up, grabbed your dog because it was limping and shit. Grabbed your dog up, put it in a bag, tied it up, threw it in the middle of the street, and ran over your dog and took it and then ate that nigga. Like, what the fuck? In broad daylight, did that shit to you because they felt some kind of way. These motherfuckers be evil, yo. They some evil ass motherfuckers in the Philippines, yo. Them no shirt wearing ass niggas, like no shirt wearing ass niggas. Like if you catch a Filipino wearing a shirt, yo, he trying to shine. He's definitely like he just have like he had diamonds in his bezel or some shit. Like you had the Rolex, but he got the Rolex with the bezels in it because he got the shirt on. Like you gotta know how to read that shit. I learned how to read all that shit they be doing. You got the sandals on. If your sandals still curling up, if your Chanel still curling up in the front, got the fresh J's on. They just came out. You know what I'm saying? If you, if they got the motorbike, they call it habal habal. If they got the motorcycle or the motorbike that you can just press the button and switch the gears. You ain't all that. You like a rookie or some shit. You driving like a little Honda or some shit. But if you got the motorbike where you gotta, switch the gears, okay, you got like a Lexus or some shit like that. You in there, But Rabbi Roberto Fortu, he had the big giant shit, the Yamaha, giant shit, old school shit, and so he had like an old school Hummer or some shit. Like it's like he had or had like a Hummer or a Tesla or some shit. It's like the Honda's like a Tesla. Nobody want that shit for real. And then you got this how you gotta be able to analyze and assess how they be reading that, how they be looking at each other when they have certain things. Now, if you're a foreigner coming through with a car, you like presidential executive and shit like that, or you the mayor, or you ride with somebody important like a mayor or somebody representative of the fucking state or the country or some shit, because you driving in a nice car and shit. So that it's certain things they be saying. You famous or something if you driving in a car. You just like somebody connected to somebody famous at least. And it's like, what the fuck? It's how it is out there. Spaghetti is a thing too. Filipino spaghetti. Like that's like show that you got money. Like, y'all got money. Sure, y'all always eating spaghetti like y'all eat spaghetti all the time. They got money. Sure, they always have spaghetti. So if you see Filipinos with pictures and you see spaghetti in the thing on a birthday party, all right, y'all all right. Y'all all right. Y'all got money. You got spaghetti. What? Out of here. Got the spaghetti and all that. So it's certain things that you can tell. It ain't no spaghetti. It ain't spaghetti, but it's spaghetti. He had that Philippine spaghetti. It's certain things you got to analyze how they see themselves, or how they assess their status and stuff like that. But yeah, even for some rice, just for 1 kilo of rice, nigga try to put his dick in your 3-year-old little girl, just because you need rice or whatever the case, or you owe something, because you're really down and out. Nobody want to help you and shit. Nobody want to give you work, and because nobody want to help you or give you work, they use that as a sign to like try to put you in debt to them, so that they can have something that you have. It's just that they don't like mixed breeds and shit. Like you could be a mixed breed, mixed with Japanese or mixed with something else. They don't like mixed breeds in the Philippines. So especially Japanese, they hate Japanese people. So like I ain't know none of that shit. I had to learn that shit. After they fucked me up and robbed me and shit, I learned that. But I ain't know that at first. I'm just chilling, doing me, living and shit. Like okay, what I don't know what y'all got going on over here. Found out I was mixed with Japanese and shit. Start fucking me up. Anyway, so anyway, they gave me her and they was begging me to be with her, and I was like, nah. I said no like 8 times. Literally, I said no 8 times. How many times you gonna ask me? I'm like getting offended to the point where I wanted to leave the Philippines. I wanted to leave, but I didn't leave because I was like, well, learning the Torah is more important. So what I'll do is just ignore Rabbi Roberto every Sabbath day. I act like I'm asleep or something like that. But what I should have did was get up extra early on the Sabbath day, but I can't go nowhere on the Sabbath day. But like I didn't know if it was a park somewhere or something I could go to, just avoid him, because I didn't want to go to that family house no more. I didn't want to go there because they keep asking me to marry the girl. I don't want to marry her and stuff like that. You know, they wanted me to choose. First, he asked me to choose which one. I'm like, okay, Carmela, the girl that keep reading the Ten Commandments. Give me, I'll talk to her. Like, let me marry her. Then after you saying I gotta marry her, give me her then. You know, if that's what you begging me to marry one of them. Okay, he was like, well, you can marry all of them. Like, I know I can marry all of them, but you know, why I want to marry all of them? Like, you don't want to marry me. I don't even know me like that. But if you saying I have to, and this, that, and the third, give me the one that reading the commandments every Saturday. Ain't nobody reading the commandments except Carmela. You know what I'm saying? She the only one brave enough. She 14, 15 years old reading the commandments and stuff. And I'm like, man, how old? Like, nah, never mind. What about her? How old is she? Like, then I went off age after that. I'm like, man, no, I don't want none of them. Like, I don't want none of them. They all young. Like, she's 17 though. I'm like, still young. And so you looking at me funny because it's like my American mindset, you know. Now that was one thing that I had to like understand too, and get back into the Hebrew mindset about is age and get back to the Hebrew customs of how marriage working with age and stuff like that. So I'm fully, healed of that curse that America put on me. All of the stuff that America tell us to do that's wrong, that's wrong, or tell us not to do that's wrong, actually be right to do. Things that save our nation, save our people and stuff. But they teach us it's wrong so that we won't thrive and progress. You know, so whatever the case, I was like, nah. But I ended up talking to Jenny Rose Panic because she was 17 and she was about to be 18. I was like, all right, fine. And I was 28 at the time. I was 28. 2014, I was 28. But I would have preferred Carmela or Manchin. But Carmela was first because she read the Ten Commandments. I'm like, what the fuck? Nah. Then I said, well, what about Manchin? Manchin, she kind of got the fluffy hair, like she looked more like me and stuff. Man, she was 13. I was like, well, fuck out of here. I fuck out of here. She looked at me. I'm like, nah. I was saying fuck out of here, but at the same time looking at her, I was like, man, that's sad. So I just gave her the elbow kiss, like, yeah, the elbow kiss, because she's looking forward to it, like me saying yeah. But I was like, nah. But I gravitated more towards Michigan anyway because they didn't. Her family, her cousins wasn't like including her. She wasn't inclusive to the things that they were doing. They was more like pushing each other away. They wasn't really around each other like that. So Machine was always alone and living at grandma's house, staying in grandma's room. She was always alone with grandma. So she was more like always learning things from her, or getting learning lessons from her, and her energy rubbing off on her because she always slept in the same bed as her grandmother. So she was more like becoming a mamai, young. She a 13-year-old mamai for real. The only touch Carmela to give her a hug because I said I didn't want to be with her, and then Rabbi Roberto was trying to consider, and I was like, all right, fine, whatever. So let's talk to her mother, and then her mother was like, no, utterly said no. So like, see, I said no. But then he was like, you can give her a hug and say bye, or say, whatever, gave her a hug to say, is saying no or something like that. Gave Carmela a hug, and then walked away. And then Machine, I touched Machine because she had a disease. That was the only time I touched Machine. We came up there. She had took a bath in the water or something like that, and she had black spots on her skin. And I was like, what the world? So he gave her some Epsom salt and was like, drink the Epsom salt. And then he was like looking at it, touching her arm, looking at it. He was like, yeah, look at it. He told me to look at it. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe if, about to touch her as well. So I touched her and looked at it. I'm like, yeah, that's messed up, whatever the case. And then I gave her a one-arm hug. I was teaching her stuff too. I said one-arm hugs is like, one-arm hugs, two-arm hugs is intimate. One-arm hugs. I gave Carmela a two-arm hug because I really liked her because she read the Ten Commandments, man. I'm like, man, I want the girl that keep reading the Ten Commandments, man. I don't know what everybody else want, she always taking the initiative. So I gave her a two-arm hug to say like bye or something like that. But the one-arm hug I gave Machine, and I gave her an elbow kiss, because her cousins wasn't really like, they was always leaving her alone and stuff like that. Um, Virginia Rose Panner ended up marrying her in the Ketubah. So we had a Ketubah marriage. And got it signed, the paper signed, had the Ten Commandments on it in Hebrew. The Ten Commandments was on it in Hebrew at the bottom of the Ketubah. And then you had the vows on it. I so and so da 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 take her to be my love. All of that was on the Ketubah, and then yeah, and then we signed it or whatever. And that was our Ketubah. And it had African Israel, had the African Israel logo and stuff, all of that stuff on there. So it was from Rabbi Simon Altaf, and it was like a printed out copy, and I signed it or whatever. And it had the that lion. It was all that. You could tell it was African Israel. It had the lion on it and stuff. Like, okay, a real Ketubah marriage certificate. So we went when we got married. We had it was 3 witnesses. So it was Rabbi Roberto, Rabbi Arat, and then another rabbi that were the brothers there that were Rabin. And we got married that night, and he was telling her, this is not a game, this is not a joke, or whatever the case. And she was like, yeah, I understand, this is serious, or whatever the case. And we got married. So it was like, do you lawfully take him to be your husband? And I do. You lawfully take you be your wife? I do. And we did that. And then we had other vows that we said off the paper and stuff that were like Hebraic vows and stuff like that, customary Hebraic vows. And we said those vows. And that was that. And after we said those vows, that was the first time she ever stayed the night at my apartment, because that was my apartment that I had stayed in when as a student. And she stayed there. I had cleaned it up. I scrubbed the floors on my hands and knees, scrubbed the floors, washed the floors. I painted the banister. And her room I washed on my hands and knees as well. And bought a carpet from Lucky 99, bought a rug, a carpet, laid it out there, had the pillows that the sisters was laying on, bought four pillows with purple pillowcases. I had the shampoo, the conditioner, I had a fan, all of that stuff ready for them, because it's so hot out there. I didn't buy like sheets or nothing. I just bought comfortable rugs and stuff that they can lay on. And I had one for the living room as well, a rug, and then had the couch in the living room, had the little glass table there that you can eat your food on and stuff, or sit stuff on. Had the laptop there if they needed to use the laptop. It was a touchscreen laptop, and I had like Lucky Me ramen noodles. I didn't know where the market was at yet. So I just kept buying Lucky Me at the little tender home right there. Kept buying Lucky Me, and the one Filipino girl that was at the store just kept like feeling some kind of way. I kept on coming to her store buying up all of the Lucky Me and stuff like that. Then she saw me come with a girl. She started getting jealous and going next door to Rabbi Roberto, like trying to ask questions and stuff. She was like she looked like Eva Joy Montequillo that was in my class in Baltimore at Baltimore City Community College. Eva Joy Montequillo, I think. Yeah, Eva Joy Montequillo. She was in my CIS class. She was taking IT like me, and we was in the same class all the time and stuff, like every time in the same class. And she started tutoring with math, and I was struggling with math. Like, yo, Eva Joy, can you help me, yo? I ain't never known nothing about no Philippines. She was the reason why I started looking up Philippines and stuff like that. Eva Joy, like, who Filipinos? So I'm like, can you help me with math and stuff? And, she was always occupied. And she had the accent. My name is Eva Joy Bardaquillo. I'm like, what's a Filipina and stuff? What's that? Where that's from? Where that's at? So stuff like that. So that was way back before I even went to the Philippines. But still, she pricked my curiosity. But coming back to it, so we gets married. and we stay in the same apartment. And she started moving some of her stuff in the apartment. Some of her stuff she brought with her. Some of her stuff she left at her father's house. And then we moved from there. I got a better spot. We moved from there, got a better spot on to Bendagat. The street is called Tabendagat. It's the same street that Rabbi Arat lives on, and he has a million peso or half a million peso house. I think the house is like 500,000 pesos. He said, and I think it was nice. Had 2 floors and stuff. I'm like, I think nice. Like right there on the beach. I'm like, that thing nice, And I lived up the street from him, but it was the Fatal Vero apartments, like JR Fatal Vero. But I was like, I might do his family own this? Like, no, it just say Fatal Vero. I'm like, but I would have believed that almost, but inside myself I didn't believe it because out there y'all still connected to your roots. So I'm like, nah, I wasn't believing that. But I was like, all right, well, the Fatal Vero apartment, but they took the AC, they took the air conditioner out of it. I'm like, why they take the air conditioner out of the you gonna have to pay extra for the air conditioner? I'm like, that's all right, it's cool, we got a fan. Try to get more money out of me. Already overcharging me for it, but then try to charge me more for the AC. That's how they do foreigners. And then they see a girl with the foreigner and then start overcharging the man like, oh, you're a dirty man. You want to be with one of our girls, but I never wanted to be with her. I wanted to stay to myself. Like, it's like they have no reason to want to hurt you, so they gave you a reason to hurt you, but the reason was an innocent reason at the same time. Like, but other people look at it like, oh, it's not an innocent thing, so they try to hurt you. But whatever the case. Yeah, we was good. Start learning where the market was at, stuff like that. And I bought a Habal, a Honda. It was a brand new one, brand new, not used. 50,000 pesos. And I wanted to pay it all out, but they was like, don't pay it all, just pay it in payments. I'm like, if I pay it all out, you could just keep it. But they wanted to pay it in payments so they can make the money and make profit and then bring it back and then make money for bringing it back and shit. I'm like, that's stupid because you really need a habal. But then I'm like, at the same time thinking like, maybe I should have just bought a bike too. Like a habal, do the payments and also just buy bikes. So everybody can just ride bikes and stuff. Could get the patches and glue, ride bikes, get the patches and glue, get extra chains and stuff like that. And everybody be good. Just ride a bike wherever we need to go. But I didn't know where to buy bikes from. Then I saw where bikes was at. Like, oh, I could have bought a bike and buy a bike now. Thinking like that. They have a Safeway, not a Safeway. I was cracking up laughing every time I went by that thing. Safeway, like we going to Safeway and shit. We going to Safeway, cracking up laughing every time. To my, why you keep laughing when you going into the Safeway? Like, what's going on? No, because in where I'm from, Baltimore, we got a market called Safeway. With an S, but this was the Safeway, shorty. Like, and then I picked up the toothpaste. It's the sample pack toothpaste. It's not it's not like a real tube of toothpaste. It's a sample pack toothpaste. They be charging, you gotta buy sample packs and shit. Like the shampoo is sample pack shampoo. It's not all that stuff is sample packs. So I'm like, okay, we going to the Safeway, get the sample packs. Sample packs of 5 pesos. Get the sample packs. It's funny, man. Everything sample packs and stuff. But if you go to the Mercury drugstore, you can get like a real tube of toothpaste. You can get like Pampers and all kind of stuff they got there. They got the lice soap and stuff. The lice soap is there. I got that for Mansheen because Mansheen had lice on her hair. And they didn't want to help Mansheen wash her hair. Her hair was thick, like almost like culotte. But it was thick as ever. Like, dang, girl, she was, And when she grew up, she looked different now that she's grown up. But when she was younger, boy, she was this brown little girl with thick hair and stuff. I got her on my video too, but yeah, but it was that, man. It was crazy. So anyway, I'm married to my wife, and like I said, I don't know their whole MO. It's the Philippines, right? I'm not there to really be married. I'm just there, to go to the school, but I'm getting all these other experiences with these families because they're asking me to marry their daughter. But it turned out that she ended up leaving me when we were in an apartment when we moved from the one apartment to the new apartment that was 6,000 pesos a month. Um, we lived on, I think, the second floor, the third floor, the second floor, and we lived in the first house on the second floor, first house there. And we were in a house, and we was laying down one night. We was laying down one night. I think we just finished having sex or something like that. Or I was like on my laptop trying to like Facebook my Aunt Rhea, trying to get information about. She said my new card came in the mail, and you know my wife is like she's right next to me, sitting down, looking at the same conversation that my Aunt Rhea is talking to me. She's looking at the conversation and stuff, and she she understands English, so she's like knowing what she's saying. She's like, well, that's your aunt. Yes, my aunt. And we just 3 years apart, and she, I used her address. That was the last place I was at. Her address at Walden Oak, or whatever. And she said, your what's her name came in the mail, and this, that, and the third. I'm like, oh, my card came in the mail. It's about to my card I got now about to expire. I gotta get my new card, my new Navy Federal card, and I have to activate the new Navy Federal card. It wasn't that my SSI was supposed to stop. It was just I was supposed to activate my new Navy Federal card. And what my bank account is still my bank account. So meaning even if my card got stolen, right, I could still log into my Navy Federal bank account, and my SSI is still accumulating, right? So it wasn't a thing where I had to, my SSI was stopping. But I was like, all right, I'll just get my new card, and I can come back and get my new card. But I thought it was such a small matter, that I didn't have to like come back to the States actually. But I wanted to come back to the States because I'm like, yeah, I could just leave and come back or whatever. Leave, go talk to my family, tell them I'm married now, and it's that like introduce them, like let them know, talk to you on the line, let you see my family and stuff like. Leave your, I'm thinking all this stuff like, yeah, because I married you, but then you don't know my family, so I'm thinking all kind of stuff like that, and letting them know what was going on with me and stuff like that, face to face, and and but my wife, Jenny Rose Pano, when we ended up going to sleep that night, she has a habit of she either holds my hand when we going to sleep, she either hold my hand while we sleeping next to each other, or she hold my dick. Like she'll hold my dick and don't let it go. She can't sleep unless she hold my dick. So she'll hold my dick and then fall asleep. But she have a habit of that, just grabbing it early and stuff. And then we be talking and stuff. She don't stroke it enough, she just hold it. And then then we just be talking and stuff. And I was like, I said, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? Should I go back to America, get my Navy Federal card, or should I ask Rabbi Roberto if I can have my aunt send it to me at an address here, and then I can get it or whatever? And but it's hard to get mail in the Philippines. I'm not realizing that it's hard to get mail in the Philippines. I'm not realizing that. I'm thinking it's like America. If you order something, you get it, But it wasn't that simple unless it's harder it's different in the Philippines. It's not like America where they have like fair laws for everyone. You just can't really you don't really abandon your law to get over on someone. You actually have to be fair with everybody. And in the Philippines, I'm thinking it's like America, like y'all fair with everyone. No, if they don't like somebody or something like that, they'll be disrespectful. They'll do stuff to you, and then even take your life and shit like that. It's like to be honest, America is in a way a better place to live, a more fair place to live than any other nation, because the nations, when they get mad at you or you disrespect their culture or something like that, they'll get at you. But in America, you have freedom of religion, so you can be whatever you want to be in America, and nobody takes offense to it like that. Not really. It's more like you can offend someone, but really it's a country where everybody can believe what they want to believe type stuff. Or you could offend somebody and let it slide because you're in America. So, there's so many people here, so many walks of life here. But whatever the case, everybody has their pros and cons. But in the Philippines, is other countries is more hardcore when it comes to culture and stuff like that, and foreigners versus America or whatever. So yeah, man, that people will look at you, you'll say stuff, you'll offend people and not even know it. And I asked my wife while I was laying down and she's holding my dick and falling asleep. I'm like, should I stay and get my aunt to mail me my Navy Federal card in the mail, or should I leave because I still got money. I still got a lot of money left. Should I leave, get a ticket, leave, and then come back? Because also I gotta update my visa as well. But instead of update my visa, I could just leave and then come back and then get the 3-year visa. I could just do that, and then we can, stuff like that. I'm talking to her for real, and she's just like, no, she's crying, and she's like, no, I think you should stay. And I'm like, cause she crying and shit. I'm like, all right, I'll stay. So that's a sign to y'all. It's a mess. The story is revolving. So talking about from the Indian story too, connecting that to the Indian story, how we left India from the cow worship shit and came here. But with my first wife, I stayed. But then when I stayed with her, I started running out of money, and then we moved to her father's house. And the resources I had bought, I had 30,000 pesos. I bought 30,000 pesos worth of resources so that we can build a house on the land made out of wood, bamboo, plywood, and things like that. So it was natural products. We didn't really need to spend too much money, and we have a house that looked like everybody else's house. So, and then we can go fishing, all that stuff. So I'm like, all right, well, we can stay on the land. And so we went back to her father's house on her grandmother's land, and Amador is his name, Pa Amador. I still call him Pa because I didn't leave my wife. Actually, my wife, I stayed with her. I said I'll stay, and I stayed. And when we moved to her father, we ran out of money, ran out of food. Nobody wanted to help us after a while, and then she abandoned me. We didn't sit there and think of a plan. She just left me. And when I had got the ticket from Simon Altaf, I was like, yeah, man, this, that, and the third, and whatever going on. He's like, if you wasn't lollygagging and nah. So he's right with that India energy, like if you wasn't lollygagging, nah, it wouldn't happen to you. Because it's like, you think I left because I was lollygagging, the whole commute from India, and you thought that was a lollygag situation. Like we came all the way to America to be lollygagging. So I kind of connected all of the dots. But whatever the case, that's what it was at first. And he's like, if you wasn't lollygagging, nah, you wouldn't have this. I'm like, why you feel like I'm lollygagging? Well, so-and-so told me, like, just because he said that don't mean it was true. Like why you ain't talk to me? Like, just because it's Rabbi Roberto Fortu doesn't mean he telling the truth. Like, get the story straight. Like, really get both. Like, you just leaning on me. Off top, just leaning on me. Roberto Fortu just offended, in some kind of, he's just offended naturally in some kind of way, because I could be offensive, I guess, and not know that I'm being offensive, and I'm just being myself or defending myself. It's how it is. Like, you have a disagreement with a teacher or something like that, they'll take offense to it because they're the teacher. It doesn't technically mean that they're right. It just means you have a disagreement, and they took it to the distance, and didn't want to back down, want to humble down, and stay balanced. They went too far with it too. But because of that, me and Rabbi Roberto started having issues, and I'm feeling some kind of way and stuff like that. We had a clash about the cycles and stuff, and he linked on me and didn't want to help me at a while. He was like, he said the Sabbath day starts in the day, not in the night. So the Sabbath day starts in the day. It's from sunrise to sunset. So a whole day is sunrise to sunset, not sunset to sunset. I said, what? I said, well, what about the night? And he was like, no, but that's the night. But Sabbath day starts. I'm like, okay, I get that, but if you talking about like a whole day start, like, so what's a whole day? Sunrise to sunset is a whole day. So I'm like, what? No, I said I can see what you're saying, but the Sabbath day is sunrise to sunset because it's Sabbath day. But you never thought Sabbath Eve or Sabbath evening, the preparation night. When the sun sets, that's the Sabbath evening, the preparation of the Sabbath. The things that you take care of, your last minute this, last minute that. Even if you had to like cross the line and last minute shopping, you do all of that stuff last minute. That's the preparation night. Grab something from the store, have sex with your wife and hurry up and wash up. Those are the last minute moments, the Sabbath night. And then you're ready for the Sabbath day because you're unclean until the sunrise. So like, yeah, but That's preparation. But it's still Shabbat, the preparation of the Shabbat. And then you have Shabbat day. You're not supposed to do your own stuff on Sabbath day when the sun is risen. You don't do your own pleasure and stuff. I get that, but not Sabbath Eve. So what is I said? So a complete day has to be sunset to sunset. He like, no, a day is sunrise to sunset. And he was like, because the word day and this, I'm like, so it's like this English language is like, so I said, okay. Well, how about this? That we was in his barbershop talking, and we was going back and forth, and we really was clashing, and he really was not. He was like looking at me like I was being offensive, or I was just need to humble down or something like that. And I'm like, well, what's a complete cycle? I just came out of me. I said, what's a complete cycle then? And like, cause you say a day, but what's the complete cycle? If this complete cycle has a night and a day, what's the complete cycle? Sunset to sunset. The day part of the cycle is the sunrise to sunset. The night part of the cycle is what I'm saying? So you can't exclude the night part just because you sleep. You have to include that into the hours and the time system. Like, so you can't, otherwise you're not going to be on point with the time. Like, what time is it? Whatever, PM. Ain't no PM, no nothing. It's just no time when the sun set. Like, come on now. Like, so how do you include that? How do you calculate time? If you just say there's no night calculation, you know what I'm saying? What the heck? A complete day is sunrise to sunset. Like, yeah, but what's a complete cycle? That's what I'm saying. If he was missing me, like, what's a whole cycle that includes the night? He was still trying to go back and forth. I'm like, you know what? That's all right, Robert. So he got offended at me, and after that moment, we stopped being cool like that. And that was the moment where we started like falling off. And then this happened, that happened. Then my car didn't come in the mail. And then, and then we ended up, my wife ended up leaving me. And then I ended up stranded in the Philippines, because nobody wanted to help us no more. My car didn't come in the mail. And I was looking at her like, I should have just left and came back, like I said. And she was like, I still don't want you to leave. Like, still saying, I don't want you to leave still. But when Simon Altaf helped me with a plane ticket, I ended up selling my laptop. I broke my laptop apart and tried to sell the parts so I can get to Manila, and I did, and my ticket was still good. And I got to the airport, but the lady was like, you can't leave, or whatever. Some Filipino lady was like, you can't leave. I'm like, what about, like, why I can't leave? Like, you didn't pay your visa, visa costs or something. Like, I forgot to pay it, I ain't got the money, I could pay it online or something like that. She was like, nah, you can't pay it, you gotta stay. What happened to deportation? Like, like, ain't no deportation. You can't leave. You gotta stay. Like, what the fuck? That's backwards. I'm like, I've never heard of that. Like, so y'all don't deport people? I got a ticket right here. Just let me on the plane and go. I ain't gotta come back. Like, nah, you ain't going nowhere. She started sounding personal. She got the uniform on. She got the police unit. It went from official to professional to personal. Like, you ain't going nowhere. You my man. You my slave. It started turning into slavery and shit. Like, you ain't going nowhere. Like she about to get on her knees and start sucking my dick and shit. Like, that's how the energy start turning into. And I'm like, well, all right, I'll leave. She's like, no, I will escort you up to the door. Like, she like I'm gonna run her. She's like really like getting crazy. And then escort me to the door, like looking at me like, you ain't going no fucking where. Cause I said I have a wife. I think I said I have a wife, but I said I'm leaving and I come back, and she was like, oh no, you ain't going nowhere. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm going to ended up having enough money to catch a bus. To go back to Putlos. So I knew how to get back. Went to the immigration building, but it was late night. Went to the immigration, got on the the Buendia Jeep to Buendia, and then from Buendia to the bus station to Batangas Port. Get off Batangas Port, catch the Montenegro, or the two. I'll quote the Montenegro. Catch the Montenegro all the way to Rumblon, and then I was like, all right, I'm going home. So then I got a tri-bike home, 50 pesos. Got a tri-bike home. Then it was like, then stopped there. I went back in the house, and my wife and Janice, my wife and Janice was laying in the bed. And when I came in the house, I was like, about to lay down, but then Janice was in the bed. She was like, "Oh, Janice in the bed." I'm like, "What the fuck?" And she was like, waking Janice, Janice. Nakai's here, Nakai's here. She was like, "Oh, Nakai's back." Gave me a hug, and then she went back, you know, and back into her father's house in her room. And I slept in a foam bed, and with my wife and stuff. She was like, "What happened?" I'm like, "It ain't let me leave and shit." I had to tell Rabbi Simon to have to, like, the ticket wasn't refundable, and I gotta tell them that they wouldn't let me get on the plane and shit. Like, I gotta pay my visa fees. They wouldn't let me go. Like, why they ain't deport you? Like, they ain't deport me or nothing. Like, what the fuck? I gotta stay here now. Like, so I'm stuck in. I'm stuck in the Philippines and shit. Like, I can't leave and shit. No money, no nothing, no job or nothing. Like, the fuck, you know. So I guess in a way I took it like they was not trying to let me come back to America. They was trying to, like, throw me away and shit. But this is my land. Like, America is my native land. So you trying to throw me away like I don't belong here, some shit. So it didn't work. I ended up coming back anyway. You know, I went to came back a dumb way where I owed money and shit. When I could have just did the ticket and got a job and paid Rabbi Simon Altaf his money back. He said with interest too. I'm like, what? That's why I ain't paying him his money back, because he said with interest. With interest? Like, the fuck? I'm not no Gentile or something. The fuck? So I took that offensively. Like, you put usury on me with that. But I was like, I'm gonna pay it anyway. But I didn't. But I came back and tried to reapply for disability, but what I found out was they wasn't trying to give me disability because they thought I was gonna go back to the Philippines and all of this bullshit they was thinking. Secret shit. You know, I know what was going on with you, but I don't want to tell you I know what was going on. I'm just gonna make it look like I don't know what was going on. I'm just not gonna give you SSI. So every time they don't, like, just now I went to the SSI building, not just now, but some days ago I went to the SSI building and tried to schedule an appointment for get my disability back. But they didn't even, like, they called me, but as soon as I pick up the phone, they hung up the phone. So they wasn't trying to talk to me. Or when I got an advocate, you know, even when I asked for a lawyer, they didn't want to give me a lawyer. Like, they not trying to give me SSI. Why? Because they think I'm going to go back to the Philippines and shit. So, or they think I'm going to go somewhere with it, you know. So they not giving it to me. That's what I know. But all this time, they still not giving it to me. Like, it must say on a computer, don't give that shit to him because he's going to run away. So they probably put some kind of code on there to say don't give it to him. So when they read the code and shit, it's like, oh shit, don't give it to him. Just act like you got to pretend like, you know, he deserves it. But the code says play him and shit. Like, it's like the code says play that nigga. You know, act like this. Like, how the fuck that, you know, because you're not telling me that I can't get it. You telling me, you're making it look like I can do something to get it because you know I had it before. So I'm supposed to, you know, I can get it back. But whatever the case, they're not saying that. They're not saying you can't get disability. You know? So, or otherwise I wouldn't keep trying, right? So that's the thing. They know I'm actually disabled. They're not giving it to me though. But I'm gonna keep trying. Instead of work, I'm gonna try to get SSI because I'm supposed to be on SSI. So that's my decision. I'm not gonna go to work. I'm gonna go to get back my SSI or try to get a lawyer or something. They keep playing me and shit. I gotta get a lawyer. But anyway, my wife left me. I'm sorry, all of this back roading you, yo. So, but straight to the point, my wife left me because we ran out of food, and we ran out of food because she didn't let me leave. When I had the money to leave, she should have let me leave. I could have paid that 1 month. I could have paid that 1 month visa fee early. I could have paid that before the month was up, because it's month by month, and we would go every month to the immigration building and pay off the fees. Sometimes I'll wait a couple months and then pay off because it wasn't that expensive. So I was like, all right, okay, fine, according to what I was making or getting an SSI. So I was like, all right, it's fine. So I waited probably like a month or two. I can go. I could pay that. Visa fees ain't gonna be that much. I could pay the visa fee and then get on a plane. You know, I got the ticket. Just pay the visa fees, get the ticket, or get a ticket or whatever, and then go and then I come back or whatever. You know, and she was like, no, don't leave. That's the only reason I didn't leave is because my wife asked me not to leave, but I wasn't getting a job there. Just like the Latinos here, something about you and shit, like, because you're not them, you can't get a job. In the Philippines, they wouldn't give me a job for shit. A Caucasian man come out of no fucking where, start teaching English and shit at some random ass school and shit. They paying the shit out of them. Me, oh, you can't get a job and shit. They got me on the bottom and shit. America, white people all day long running this shit, running the Filipinos, running the Spanish people. See a brown man, oh, we ain't gonna give you no job and shit. You know, piss test you and shit, stole your piss and employed one of their own people and shit because they smoke. The fuck. So that's how they are. Just why it's making me not like them and shit because I don't understand why you're doing that to me or what makes you feel as though I deserve to be treated like that over and over and over again. Like, and not you not thinking we need to chill. You know, cause he cool for real. We need to chill, let him work and shit. Yo, it's cool. Yo, he out here don't cause no problems or nothing. Ain't nobody chilling back saying that. Like, he cool, yo, he don't cause no problems, yo, let him work and shit. They like, nah, fuck that nigga and shit. SA, I don't give a fuck, SA shit. And you don't get in that the man a job, you just feeling some kind of way and shit. Don't let that man work and shit. In his own fucking country, his own place. I'm from here, nigga. Like you is. You are indigenous, I'm indigenous. We both from here indigenous and shit. You even on my side of the shit. You know, I'm from the east side of the north, but you from the south side, you know, or the south. Not from the east or the west of the north, but you from the south. You came up here and tried to run shit. Didn't even let me get a job in my own shit. So it was just crazy, you know. So don't know the rules, don't know the vows we had or nothing. Like, I don't know what the natives doing up here. You just up here trying to run shit on some demon shit, devil shit. Y'all having demon devil parades and shit. So I'm thinking maybe it's y'all niggas with the demon devil shit coming up here acting cool and shit. But y'all just came out of the parade and shit with the devil and shit. Running that nigga through the parade and shit. Like, what the fuck kind of shit you got the devil for real in the parade and shit with the devil suits on and shit, dancing and shit with the wings and shit. And then you took that shit off and came to America like acting cool and shit. And the reason why niggas ain't getting jobs and shit, holy people ain't getting jobs, because y'all demon asses came out the parade and shit, came up here on some I'm cool and shit, yeah. But really y'all demonic and shit, and not trying to help holy people. Like, fuck. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Cause it can't be no possible way you see a good hearted person and you like fuck that nigga. So anyway, so my wife left me over some rice, but I'm not the first Filipino that was ever left over some rice. A lot of Filipinos that was on the islands and stuff like that with me was married to women that ran off, that was married to women that married other men and ran to America or another country and shit. Like, so you double married and shit. Like, you in a real marriage, but you left your real marriage for a fake marriage so you can eat and shit. Now you in America living this fancy ass life and shit with brand new ass children and shit. And it's crazy. You know, it's crazy. Like, one Filipino I met, I was doing cable somewhere. I was doing cable and I met a Filipino. I was at that house and it was just her in the house. Her husband was somewhere, I guess. But I was doing a cable and I was like, I always have a rule. You know, I always do the outside work first. I don't care if it's snowing outside, cold as shit outside. It depends, I guess, if it's like already hooked up or not. If it's already hooked up, I'll just, you know, depends. But normally, even if it's cold, freezing, raining, I don't care what it is, I'm doing the outside work first, then I'll come inside. All right, then I'll just knock first, let them know. All right, I'm here, the cable guy, do the outside work first, then I come in, you know. She'll be like, all right, then when did the outside work first, hooked everything up, made it neat, QC'd it. All right, blah, 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 came into the house. All right, yeah, you know, you got this line. I'm going to run you a new line. Da-da-da-da, I got you. You know, so ran a new line. Da-da-da-da, this, that, and the third. Made it real new, everything new and fresh. Also, because she was a Filipina is why I ran her a new line. She need to stay in contact and stay in touch with her family. She don't need nothing happening. So, all right. So then when I came in the house, she was like, you know, talking to me, this, that, and the third. So I grabbed her hand, you know, and I did the you know, the natural greeting, and she started crying and stuff, and then gave me a hug. She gave me a 2-arm hug, you know. I'm normally it's the 1 arm, but I gave her a 2-arm hug because she got white children and shit, and she's brown looking Filipina, and you know, and she gave me a 2-arm hug, and I'm thinking like, you probably got a husband some fucking way. So I gave her a 2-arm hug on the sake of it, like, and then I just start talking like, yeah, okay, are you okay and shit? You eating? Yeah, I know you here. You okay? You know, and then she start crying as if like I was like her husband telling her, you know, I miss you, but I know you good, as long as you good type shit. Speaking for another person, subbing and shit. You know, you left your husband in the middle of no fucking way in the Philippines to come to America and live this different ass life in the middle of no fucking way with a Caucasian man and shit. And he don't know you married and shit. So that, and there's no divorce, so it's crazy, right? But if a woman leaves her husband, there's Torah laws to that. I know I talk a long time, right? But I'm gonna give it to you. So wait, please wait longer. All of this story matters. So yeah, that's my first wife. So she left me. My second wife left me as well. Or rather set it up and shit. Because it's like American women are more clever. They know that you can. They know they do things in a way where you can't say something back, and people side with you. So they don't set you up to leave you unless it looks like it's foolproof and shit. Where I gotta set him up in a way to where no matter what he say is always gonna look like he's the reason that we're not together anymore. So they don't leave you otherwise, unless they really 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 fed up and they not getting over. Then they'll just leave your ass, but they try to set you up so that later on you can't say shit and make them look like it's them. And they can keep hiding and shit and live their new life looking guiltless, but they really guilty and shit. So my second wife was Tanika Jackson, and I think she cheated on me and got pregnant either by her brother or by Joe or some guy, Little Big Joe or regular Joe or her brother, DeAndre Jackson. She got pregnant by somebody. And I kept it hush. I didn't say anything. But I came home from work and, she left the evidence and shit on the floor, sperm and blood on my t-shirt and shit. The same thing Kirsten did to me and shit with Cardine when I didn't know that she was with him still. She lied to me and said she wasn't with him no more. It's not my fault you lied, and you're not expecting me to think that you lied and shit. Why would I just disbelieve you? Just don't lie. If you care about me, you really because then let's say I'm with a woman that really genuinely is with no one, and she said I don't have a boyfriend. She really mean that. You know what I'm saying? What I'm supposed to just be like, maybe she do, and man, what I'm supposed to be thinking like that, it eliminates or it halts the process of getting to know her, assuming she lying and shit. So no, when you say something, I'm believing you because you like me and I like you, right? So why would you lie? So you thinking or expecting me to assume that you're lying, you mad that I'm not catching on type shit. So you just feel some kind of way. Why did you lie from the beginning? Catfish ass shit. So whatever the case, I'm with Tanika Jackson and I said I didn't want to be with her. Like literally the same amount of times I said about my first wife, Jenny Rose Panna. I didn't want to be with her, but I gave her a fair chance as well. And because she's a sister like me. She mixed, but she's still a sister, right? Hebrew, but she mixed with white. Whatever. It's a lot of people mixed with white, but they Hebrew. Whatever. That's a natural thing now. So I'm not thinking she gonna be acting white and shit and using white privilege. I'm just like, okay, you're just a mixed girl or whatever. But she in the middle of the smiddle in Utah some fucking weird. So I didn't know how they did things out there. I go out there to meet her and her family and shit, and it's like she's more leaning towards the white Caucasian side. Like damn, like my cousin Nyasia is more white than you. Like you girl, your legs only look a little white, but you don't look white like to be acting like that. And you like what the fuck acting like you extra guy? Like the fuck you brown and shit. Like you not really like. I can get my cousin Nyasia right now and take her to Utah. And she look more part of them than you and shit. But she more hood than you. Like you talking about all this dumb shit you talking about. Girl, you don't calm down. So it was making me feel funny because I never had a mixed girl act white before like that. Even in Tennessee, they got it like that. Some of the girls be acting white because they be mixed, but you look brown and shit. Like you not even yellow. You not yellow bone. You red bone. You red bone. You not caramel. You not yellow bone. You red bone. Red bones acting yellow bone and shit, but even yellow bones don't even act like that. The fuck? That's as we call it, But anyway, she was acting a little white sometimes, acting like she was a slave master and shit like that. I'm like, girl, you don't even know the rules of bond servanthood or hired servanthood to be acting like that. You just acting like that and shit. Like you don't know something and shit. But I'm like, man, I ain't even gonna teach her and shit. I'm not gonna teach her about bond servanthood yet. I'm gonna teach it later. So whatever the case, I left that on some things I didn't teach my wife because she was acting real funny. I'm not gonna tell you secrets and shit. Like, who's the disciple whom the Savior loved? I ain't even gonna tell you. I ain't even going to the New Testament a lot. I'm not telling you nothing for real. I'm gonna do a video because she was acting funny. Like, acting like that. And I'm gonna teach you some shit that you try to use against me later. She was clashing with me a lot. But I was like, not getting mad at the classes. I was just trying to help her understand, like, about the moon cycles and the Sabbath. She was like, the Sabbath is on the moon cycle, the moon Sabbath, and that. I'm like, yeah, it's a difficult subject. We're dealing with this subject a long time. Even I was stuck on that subject a long time ago. Stuck on, confused on the subject and stuff like that. And I kind of made my peace with the subject by understanding one key simple thing about the moon Sabbath and all of this stuff that people be debating about. So I made my peace about it and just like, well, I'm not gonna lean on any decision ever in my life when it comes to what dates are supposed to be what dates. Just hold it, observe it, at the date that you're gonna observe it on, and that suffices. But as you're trying to make a definite date, I'll never lean towards a definite date ever, because things happen. I already know about the languages. Sometimes the languages in the Hebrew aren't really Hebrew terms. They were other terms of other captive places and stuff, and was grafted into the language to be called a Hebrew language. So you have like the word for month could mean moon, but even in other languages, other people's languages, they only have one word for month, and the word for month is actually moon, not month. There's no such thing as a word month. The word month fucks you up. So what is a month? It's not a word that exists, because then you had to break down the word month. What is month that these English people invented? Instead of just say moon. What is the word for moon? They made a word called month, so it twists you up. So they were saying that in the Philippines and other languages and countries, there is no word for month. It's just a word for moon. Simple. So like in the Philippines, the word for moon is buwan. And they like, Isang Buwan, or whatever, the one moon, 1 month. I'm like, what's Buwan? They're like, oh, 1 month is, Buwan means moon, not month, but we know English, so we say month, because you say month, but it's just one moon. Oh, 1 month. Oh, yeah, 1 month, like that. So that's how you got to tell English people that and shit. But they say Isang Buwan, or next Buwan, next moon. So, but as far as like that, that's just something else. But as far as the time itself, like dates and stuff, I don't pop, because in the very beginning of the time, there was a such thing as a flood. And after the flood, there was like things that happened. The sun stopped for one whole cycle and shit while they was going to war. So that offset time. And then other events that you might not know that was recorded that could have offset time. And then the earth is off its axis. So because the earth is off its axis, it's offsetting time. So it's like time is, and then the nights started to shorten up, whereas nights used to be 7 hours, and then day cycles used to be 7 hours. And so it was a 14-hour cycle and shit like that. So it's like, damn. So now that the earth is off its axis, the hour cycle is off. So off over thousands of years, those hours add up, to days, and days add up to months. So the cycles are off. So whatever the case, so I got distractions and shit. Whatever the case, everything is not what you think it is or what it looks like or whatever the case. You have to really factor things in. So when I factor that in, that's what I factored in. So I don't choose a set date as far as a Sabbath day or feast day or something like that. I just follow the calendar, man, and just keep it simple, because then you'll fuck yourself up because you don't have an original calendar to even know what the very first day one was. What was the very first day one for mankind? The very first, night to night, when the moon and the sun was made. Because then you talk about cycles of the Most High. Before the moon and the sun was made to give us time cycles on Earth, you still could be off because you don't have that calendar from heaven. And then you don't have the earth calendar from the first day that Adam was made. And then it's just like, it's the time is not even calculated right. You don't even get full stories in the Torah to know what time was what. So you could be off on the times and stuff like that. So I don't, and you can't get back on track using the moon, because the moon is not an even cycle. Some of the moons are 31, some of the moons are 30, one is 28. The second moon, as they call it. But the February is 28 cycles in that one, which is not even the second moon. And then they change, even the new year is not even, they says December, that's not even a new year. December, January 1st is not the new year. So it's like all shit is off like a motherfucker. So when you talking about time, I don't get into that. But that's just that. Just sorry, another back road. But sorry about that. So we were getting back and forth like that, and that kind of started clashes between me and my wife, second wife, Tanika Jackson. My first wife had already left me for her ex-boyfriend and shit, cause he had the money. He got a shirt on, his chanelas is curling up in the front, you know, and they got a habal that you got to switch the gears and shit, and it's brand new looking. I'm like, oh, he ran into some money somewhere, and she ran off with him and shit, holding him, hugging him and shit. She ran off with him, you know, and yeah, I watched him run off with him, holding him tight and shit, and just never came back to me. She might have came back to her father's house when I wasn't, there, and they wasn't telling me and shit. They just playing me and shit after a while, cause she keep coming back to her father's house with food and shit or whatever, but never coming over to where I'm at and shit. Like left me there, but you was the one begging me to stay, crying and shit. Now you left and don't want to even see my face and shit. I only came back because you was about to kill yourself and shit. Like, damn, what the fuck? That's how you feel? Like, you only came back because I was about to kill myself. I stayed because you crying and shit, thinking I'm not going to come back and shit. I'm a man. I'm really going to come back. You a woman. You ain't going to ever come back. You going to go wherever the fuck the food is at and never come back. You'll betray the shit out your man. So that happened. I know how women can be, yo. For food, they'll leave the shit out their husband and never come the fuck back. Only go where the food at. They ain't gonna try to look for no job or no shit like that. They gonna hug up under another man. A man, he has to be a man. He has to go out there and find work, and then he'll come back to his wife, cause he's a fucking man. You're not gonna lay up under another man. Women don't work and shit like that to be taking care of men. Still to this day, even in America, it's so fucking not traditional anymore. Men get vasectomies and shit like that to lay up under other men and shit like, and there's still women expect men to be traditional. Men gay as shit everywhere, but they still expect the men to be traditional when they find a straight one, knowing that the whole fucking system is ran by homosexual men. It's off now to where when you see a straight man, you know the shit off to where you poor as shit, homeless as shit, but you the straightest man out here, good man and all that. Shit not traditional no more. So it's just your sign and shit. But my second wife just she didn't deal with her past and shit, or she was still connected to her past. When she was talking to me, it just became like it was just a lust interest. She was lusting after me and made it look like she just was liking me. And then as we were learning and teaching each other, she teaching me about the flat earth, and I'm connecting the dots and stuff like that, and like teaching her about different things about the Torah, so we adding to each other. So it just kind of gravitated towards each other, but I didn't like her in the way of wanting to talk to her. So I was like, no, I'm good. She only talked to me because of flat earth. And she took the initiative to hit my DMs and all that, like, I'm gonna send you some of this, and she made the initiative to really like reach out to me because she really was trying to convince me that the earth was flat and shit. So she had a reason to come at me, otherwise she wouldn't have. She would have been that dainty little girl like, no, I don't, I'm not interested, but I was the one that wasn't interested because I'm like, nah, you too young. And she wasn't taking no for an answer, and I gave her a fair chance. Like, you keep pressing me, so I'll give you a fair chance. And I was doing cable at the time. I first started doing cable, went out Utah and did cable, and then we was together. And then, and then I found out some funny things and stuff like that, some uncleannesses. And so everything was cool at first, but the thing just started going downhill, start turning into a father-daughter relationship. And I'm not saying I was right about everything. Whenever it was something we didn't agree on or something like that, I'm like, well, if we don't agree and stuff like that, we can just leave that alone for right now. Just leave that alone for right now, and we could pick it up later on in life. We don't gotta, you know what I'm saying? We ain't gotta keep going back and forth like the moon Sabbath thing. Like, yeah, okay, that's a tough topic, to be talking about and stuff like that. And I don't lean towards it because the moons are not even numbers and stuff like that. So you can't lean towards the moon to cycle back time and stuff properly. Also because at one point in history, the sun stood still. For a whole cycle, the sun stood still. So you offset the time with that as well. And it's like, you're not going to properly be able to trace back time. Even before the flood, you would have to trace back time before the flood, So it's like, you're not going to be able to trace back time right. So you don't have the information, or enough calendars or information. You don't have ancient calendars or nothing to trace the time. So let's just leave it alone. And talk about this another time. Because I was like, let's just keep the Sabbath according to the calendar. She want to do the moon Sabbath. And I'm like, nah, we just do the calendar Sabbath because, if we do the moon Sabbath, it's gonna always land on a different day. No, if you do it and calculate, she was really hot. She was serious as shit. If you calculate it and count the moon Sabbath by the days of the moon, you'll always. I'm like, no, it's because there are uneven days. She was not getting it, like how I wasn't getting it at first. But even when I wasn't getting it at first, it wasn't. I started realizing that right, it's just too complex, and then I calmed and humbled down because it was explained to me in a way where it's complex. That's how I understand today. It's complex because I understood what the brothers were saying. If you go by the moon, you're going to have a 30-day month, then you have a 31-day month, and then a 28-day month. It's going to offset you, so you're never going to land on the Sabbath the same day every month. So it's off. And the earth is off its axis as well, so it's offset in time. So nothing is going to be, calculated accurately anymore. She was just not listening or not understanding where I was coming from. Like, see what I'm saying? Like, when you freshen the thing, when you freshen the Torah, you don't be understanding. You don't have enough seasoning. So you sound like a rookie and you're not understanding where I'm coming from. Instead of listen or humble down to your husband and just be like, okay, whatever. It's not that big of a deal to just leave my husband. At least we still observing the Sabbath day. You try to take that and blow it up and make a reason to be clashing with me and shit. Now you calling other brothers and other sisters and calling them behind my back and, oh, your husband off. Your husband off. Your husband off. Your husband off and shit. Hebrews love saying you off. That's like a big ass statement in the Hebrew culture. You off, you ready to kill somebody? What would you say? You about to fight and all that, scrapping and all that? Don't when you say a Hebrew is off, like, oh, you off. So you got sisters call us like, oh, your husband off. Yeah, what? Your husband off? Like, it's like, oh, I got brothers calling me from wherever the fuck they from with 2 and 3 wives already talking some. Hey man, your wife can come, chill where I'm at and shit. The fuck is you calling me for? Who is you, yo? Like, fuck is you calling me for? Some brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what the fuck? He was like a brother that was trying to explain how Abraham was in sin by marrying his sister and shit because it's the English sister. He's so fucking lame. This guy don't even know the Hebrew. He just cook food in the camera and he got a couple wives and he do some backflips in the camera and shit. And he looked like a guy that's well endowed or whatever the case. So he can lean, and then he showed his gun in the camera. Oh, I got a gun and shit. So it makes sisters feel like they can be safe with him and shit. But that's deceptive because you in the camera and shit with it. Nobody give a fuck about you still can flip because you old, but you still can flip. So you still lively to be fucking the shit out of them. Nobody give a fuck, oh, you can cook and shit. So, oh yeah, that food gonna be good and shit. He really get cooking in there and shit. So they don't gotta cook and shit. So okay, I could be with a man that cook, the man that got energy and shit, they can fuck the shit out of me. I got a man that got a gun, he can protect me. And then he wanna run to that shit. So this guy, my wife see him and shit. Yeah, sister so-and-so, she said down there where she at, I can go visit her or whatever the case. I'm like, visit her? Who is her? Like, how come you talking about brothers and sisters that never even talk to me? Like, who are they? You talking about going somewhere with another brother, with another brother's wife, and hang out with her spot, but I don't even know the brother. And then this brother's all off by like saying she okay to come down, approving of her wife to have a sister come down, but ain't talk to his husband. Did your husband approve of that? Finally, I said some shit about it to her. When I said that to her, he want to hit me up on my phone. I'm at work. I'm doing cable. I'm at work some fucking where doing cable. He hit me up. Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck going on? We on a 3-way or some shit like that. We texting. And I'm like, the fuck is this guy talking about? It's my wife, my nigga. What you talking to me like she not my wife? She can just come down here. I'm like, fuck, no, she can't. I'm her husband, my nigga. And then he called. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is you doing calling my phone? Like, yo, who are you for real? Like, he be like, yeah, I mean, just saying, yo, what, didn't mean no disrespect. Your wife can come. I'm like, no, my wife ain't going nowhere. I don't even know who you are. You ain't had no conversations. We ain't talking. We ain't FaceTime a couple times to really get to know each other or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm up here working for my wife. We got bills and rent to pay. We got a daughter. I'm not going to let my wife go down there where the fuck you at with my daughter and shit like that. And I'm working my ass off for her and shit like that. So that later on, you got envious brothers. And then so shit happen where niggas betray you, take your wife from you and shit, set you up and shit, say shit. And set you up and shit because they be agents and shit like that behind the scenes. So yeah, my wife left me off of some down south ass shit because when she left me, she went to Georgia. So that shit was already set up. Already was set up because one brother felt some kind of way about my wife. Nigga wanted to take my wife from me. Felt as though I'm off and shit. All starting from a moon Sabbath doctrine and shit. Not listening and shit. telling my wife I'm a rabbi. I know what I'm talking about. Like, it could, like, you even being a rabbi helps you understand when you could be off or when to leave something alone, because it's not enough information on that matter, because time fucks shit up. So being a rabbi means you need to know when things need to be left alone too, or when you don't have enough information to be rah about something. So that, and she wouldn't leave it alone, man. She took that one moon Sabbath situation and called a bunch of sisters and brothers and plotted and planned on me to leave my ass with a nigga named Joe and shit, and left my ass. But Joe just didn't like me. He was always looking for a way to get rid of me and shit. Cause like, yo, I didn't even, she's the, get your girl then. Like, if you feel as though that's your girl, tell her to stop calling me and shit. Telling me shit and she need me and all this. Y'all need to fix that shit. Like, that's simp ass shit. Like, a man love protecting a woman, but don't stop the woman from doing bullshit ass shit. So just like y'all and shit, y'all need to fix y'all issues and shit like that. Y'all just the problem and shit. Y'all the problem and shit. Y'all be the fucking problem and shit like that. Sorry about the disrespect in the background. Y'all be the fucking problem and shit. So it's just, yo, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy, yo. So yeah, yo, that's why I got the Utah Jeep and shit. What's my issue? Utah, yo, niggas pulling guns out on me. Niggas feeling kinds of ways about me and shit like that. Niggas saying shit behind my back to other niggas that never, don't even know who the fuck I am and shit. Got people feeling emotions and shit. Spanish people feeling emotions about me, don't even fucking know who I am. Nobody talking to me to understand why I'm moving the way I'm moving, why I'm making moves the way I'm making moves, why I talk to this person, what was said, what happened for you to get to this point, or why you with this girl, what happened. Y'all not giving a fuck. Y'all thinking I just was this fucked up in the head ass man and just wanted to do some shiesty shit for the rest of my life, and that's just the type of person I am, a shiesty ass nigga that just to go around being shiesty and doing stupid shit and disrespectful shit and just trying to running from some shit or something. And I just be hurting people for a living. That's what y'all be thinking. So when you see me, you be assuming that shit. So then you start hurting me by hearing some shit that somebody else said. You would just assume when you see me, oh, he look like somebody that'll, instead of actually know for sure if he's somebody. I just look like this, my nigga. I look like how I fucking look. You know what I'm saying? The fuck? Well, you look like some pretty boy ass, Hispanic, Rico Suave ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's what you look like. But is that what it is? So it's like, it's all kind of crazy shit. So my ex-wife, Tanika Jackson, was not stable enough to even be a wife. You know? So she was always a gadabout, all over the fucking place, all over the internet and shit like that. She's a younger woman too. Why I said I didn't want to talk to her, because she's too young. You're too young. You're more a part of this day and age. Your social media, content creator world and shit. You're not old school, like before cell phones and shit like that. You're not part of our situation. You just came in, you know. So you weren't really part of the no internet world where people used to be real and communicated with each other and shit. You wasn't listening to 90s songs when they first came out and shit. You listening to replays and shit that your parents got. So it's just a bunch of disrespect, yo. Utah is my issue, yo. It took my children from me and shit. Won't let me get my children because something she said and shit. So I took the Jeep for real. It's really why I took the Jeep, but my intentions weren't to not pay the payments. You know, just people not helping me, not dealing fairly with me. So it looks like I'm just being disrespectful with the Jeep, but I'm not. But I took the Jeep because they took my daughter, and I just went to another state to be like, yeah, I'm gonna take the Jeep to another state and just live in another state with the Jeep. You know, while you got my daughter and you took my daughter from me and shit, won't give me my daughter back. You keep raping me and taking my money before I can get enough money saved up to get a lawyer to get my daughter. Same thing they trying to do to me in California. You know, trying to cut my shit so I won't save enough money to start doing shit, because then I can make money and then I can still get a lawyer to try to get custody of my daughter. Anything to keep me from getting my daughter and shit. It's crazy, yeah. It's crazy how people be feeling about you. But why do people feel like they need to stop me from getting my daughter? What type of person they think I am? And what type of person they think they are that, like, do you think you're better of a person, more moral of a person than me to take care of her than me? Or do you have an evil intention? Like, you want to raise her to be a hoe. You want her to be an escort. You want her to be fucking and making money for you. That's how I'm looking at it, because you can't think the other way. You just want to use my daughter for sex and shit so you can make money. So whatever the case, I got a lot of people walking back and forth by the car and shit, being disrespectful and shit, because they want me to get out the car and shit. Like, you know, dumb shit like they knowing I'm on a fucking phone. recording. They know when I'm recording on the phone, so they come popping up and shit. So I can say, oh, disrespectful people in the background and shit. Anyway, so whatever the case, that's just what I wanted to say about it. I'm talking so long about them, I'm not even going into the scripts, but I need to get into the script before I get off of here and kind of bring it out, you know. But that's the story, man. My wife just left me, and there's no real reason. Like, there's no real reason. If you ask my first wife, she'll try to make you think I left her, but she left me. You know, she left me for her ex-boyfriend that was living in Punta, up the street in Acapulco, a place called Punta, you know. And that's where she went. She left me in the house that I built for her, or we built together. Her father, her uncle, me, Kuya Jason, we all built it together. I also George Panner, you know, it's funny. George Panner, Boy, all they did the most work, but still, because I didn't know the ancient ways to do that stuff, like different tools and stuff to measure stuff and stuff. I'm like, oh, what's that tool and shit? Oh, we got it. We don't know how to use all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, like you in China trying to measure something and shit. You're using a string with some charcoal on it. I'm like, what the fuck? But so I'm learning at the same time helping. So I cut my finger and shit, helping build the house. I cut my finger. So yeah, I'm learning, yo, using a sword and shit. So built the house. She got a house. Put my blood on it. Put my money into it. Put my own hands into it. We both putting our hands to it, nailing in the floor and shit. We built the floor, put the floor down together. Because once the frame got put together, we told our father we can do the rest, and we did. We nailed the floor down and stuff like that, and made a floor for ourselves, and then things like that. And he was like, "Yeah, that's good, that's good." He learning and stuff, but we put our own love into building a house together as a family, and then she just left and shit. Cause no rice, no biggest. But that's why I wanted to leave and come back, whatever. So she left me, and then my second wife left me too. You know, but for them to feel some kind of way today, like, it's only because they can't look back in their memory bank and find anything wrong with me. They can't. They'll look and be like, well, what kind of husband was your husband? You know, they'll look and be like, well, he didn't actually do anything wrong to me. We just ran out of rice and shit. Now that you see me eating and shit, you mad as shit because you left me because of food. Now that I'm eating, you mad as shit that I'm eating without you and shit. You're not used to that. I'm not used to my husband eating food without me and shit. I'm fucked up. So you want to get even because you left me for food and shit. Now that I'm gone and I'm eating and shit, you mad at me. It's not my fault. You should have stayed faithful. Hang on. It's a test. Why you not looking at life as a test? This test taking too long. It's because your heart taking too long. So that, your heart in the wrong place. It's taking too long to get in the right place. So then you too long in the wrong place, time up. So my second wife, same thing. A whole bunch of bullshit. Feelings and emotions and shit like that. You know, bringing me into her bullshit and shit like that. If you got feelings for your brother still, or feelings for all these random ass people, lust issue type shit, leave me the fuck alone. Like, why are you trying to get married to somebody? You not a virgin either and shit. You know, and you trying to get married and your heart not in the right place. You're not repentant for real. You're still struggling. That's why I said I don't want to talk to you. I will be your rabbi. I will be your teacher, and I'll teach you, and I'll help you get in a position where you can be with someone, you're on your level. But it takes time to get to where I'm at. I'm like set in my way. I'm a man of the Most High. I'm just a pious person. My bed is made. You thinking there's something with me because you just coming in. I'm seasoned up. You not understanding I'm really seasoned up. I'm really like this. Turns out I'm really like this, a holy person. You not. And so it's fucking me up, fucking you up because, you know, your heart not right and not in the right place. So you got people helping you get away from me and shit. Instead of just tell me, I got issues, man. I got lust issues from the very beginning. I got lust issues. I'm sorry. Then we can walk away. You wouldn't have said that shit after we had a son and a daughter and shit. We got a daughter, we got a son. Now you telling me, I'm sorry, I got lust issues and shit. The fuck? Why you ain't tell me that in the very beginning? That's why I said I didn't want to talk to you. I just kind of understood you too young. You would have lust issues. You still got that youthfulness about yourself. So you're going to see something young and pretty and be like, damn, he got a six-pack, and start wanting to suck dick off of a six-pack. You love the way your fingers ripple off of the muscles and shit while you sucking it and shit. So you still got those feelings and emotions and shit. So I was like, nah. I was thinking that early. Nah, I'm good. Still went forward with the shit. So yeah, both my wives left me, cheated on me, went with other random ass niggas that was just looking at me, felt some kind of way about what I had, coveted. You enviously desired what I had. You coveted me and took my wife. You coveted my wife and took her from me. Set a plan up to take her from me. You know, when I was 28, I was, straight. I was good. I was young, had a nice stomach and shit. Face was still tight as shit. Now that I'm 40, I'm all pudgied up, but pudgied out and shit. But whatever. Yeah, so let's get into the scriptures, the last part. Let's get into it, do the scriptures last this time. Where we going at? I'm gonna take it here. Alright, those who lasted all the way up until here will get it. Alright, starting at verse 1. Alright, they say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him, and become another man's, shall he return to her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But you have played the harlot with many lovers, yet return again to me, says Yahweh. Alright, so the Most High is saying here in Jeremiah, he said, they say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him, and become another man's, shall he return to her again? It was not saying that they say, actually, to make you think that they actually saying it. It's actually a Torah law. And where's this Torah law written at? We'll get it here in Devarim 24. All right. Oh, that was a hold up. All right, here it is. They say if a man put away his wife and she go from him and become another man's, shall he return to her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But you have played the harlot with many lovers, yet return again to me, says Yahweh. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. And if the latter husband hate her and write her a bill of divorcement and gives it in her hand and sends her out of his house, or if the latter husband die which took her to be his wife, her former husband which sent her away may not take her again to be his wife. After that she is defiled, for that is abomination before Yah, and you shall not cause the land to sin, which Yahweh your Elohim or Elohim gives you for an inheritance. When a man has taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war, neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free at home 1 year, and shall cheer up his wife which he have taken or has taken. So it's letting you know here, if you got a wife and you find some uncleanness in her and you put her away, I don't know why this, hold on, something's not right here. Deuteronomy 24. Hold on. And Jeremiah 3. That's backwards. So the scriptures is backwards in here for some fucking reason. This is not Jeremiah 3. This is Deuteronomy 24, right? So it's stupid. So when I go to Jeremiah 3, it's taking me to Deuteronomy 24. When I go to Deuteronomy 24, it's taking me to Jeremiah 3, whatever. So Devarim chapter 24, which is wrongly Devarim 3 here. I got to reset my my app. I'll reset it later. But it says, when a man has taken a wife and married her, this is Devarim chapter 24, when a man has taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he has found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house. Never is a woman allowed to write a bill of divorcement to her husband. These are other Torah laws, because it's actually not supposed to be divorce. But if the woman is unclean, meaning has some wickedness about her that's so fucked up, like my wife got lust issues. She has some uncleanness about her. She has an issue with her eyes or something like that. She has lust. She tend to look at men in lust or whatever the case. And it's causing her to want to commit adultery type shit. So he found some uncleanness in her. So before you commit adultery, just, you have an issue with that. You can't control yourself. You're always around other men and I'm finding you and shit and catching you and shit. So here, take this bill of divorcement before you actually start kissing on other niggas, sucking other dicks and shit. Here, take this bill of divorcement. You have some uncleanness and just an issue with you, your lust, and let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house. Verse 2. Lift up your eyes to the high places and see where you have not been lying with. What? They fucked this shit up. Give me a minute. I reset the app. Alright, so I had to reset the app. They got that shit twisted all up. So anyway, here it is. Write a bill of divorcement. Verse 2. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. And if the latter husband hate her and write her a bill of divorcement and gives it in her hand and sends her out of his house, or if the latter husband die which took her to be his wife, her former husband which sent her away may not take her again to be his wife. After that she is defiled, for that is abomination. That's nasty. You got worms in your bag and shit already. I'm supposed to reach in there. It's like you got another man's sperm in your body and then want to come back to me and I'm supposed to bust a nut on top of his sperm, dead sperm bodies in your... No, that's nasty. You got two different type. You know what I'm saying? First you had cucumbers growing out of you because I'm busting nuts in you. Now you growing cucumbers. Then you went to another man because the cucumbers was rotten and shit. You got lust issues and shit. So you ran off to the man that you had the lust issue with. And then he married you. And then once he married you, he busting carrots inside of you and shit like that. And here it is. You want to come back to me and shit for some reason because he gave you a bill of divorcement. And now you got carrot seeds and my cucumber seeds that was left over and shit still in there and shit. Shit look a fucking mess. It's nasty. You know what I'm saying? Cucumber, carrots and shit. Mixed breeding fruits and vegetables is nasty as shit. That's nasty. It's gore. That's what that is. It's gory. Two different types of sperm, but women be having sex with every fucking body. You know what I'm saying? It's about the sperm going inside of you. Men can have more than one wife, so it's not the same. He has a stick. So you just wash that shit off. If we talk in just general terms and not talking holy terms, come on. It's not the same for a woman as it is for a man because men bust inside of you. Their energy also go inside of you when they bust, not just the liquid. So you become him and shit. So now you acting like me. You are like a 3-headed monster and shit with my head hanging out and his head hanging out your neck and shit. And you roaring with a tail and shit. Got claw feet looking like Bowser and shit. You know what I'm saying? You're a monster now. Her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. After that she is defiled, for that is abomination before Yahweh. And you shall not cause, or you must not cause the land to sin, which Yahweh your Elohim gives you for an inheritance. You must not cause the land to sin by doing that shit. Bouncing and juggling women around and shit like that. Women not setting shit and who they love, and so they want to be with this man. They jumping around. Next thing you know, after the second man, you left him and shit. You trying to go back to the first husband. He don't want you back. You want to just be a hoe. Next thing you know, everybody just fucking the shit out your ex-wife and shit for fun and shit. Now you causing the land to sin and whore. But again, when a man's taking a new wife, he shall not go out to war, neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free at home 1 year and shall cheer up his wife which he has taken. All right, so that's just the rule on that. But it actually normally was no divorce, but for special cases there were divorces. There actually were real special cases. So Masha allowed bill of divorcements, which are called gets, like get the fuck out. People saying get out. Get means bill of divorcement, But if we take it to Jeremiah, back to Jeremiah, hope it ain't messed up. 3. It said they say. So where they say at was Devarim chapter 24, which is the Torah. They say in Devarim chapter 24, if a man put away his wife and he go from him and become another man, shall he return to her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But you have played the harlot with many lovers. Yet return again to me, says Yahweh. All right. Now with the Most High saying, yes, he wants you to return to him after you done did you whoring around and stuff. But typically when you read the book of Hosea, it was not saying in the sense of the time frame of right now. He put away the one wife, but then as time passed, you had descendants, and now you become a new wife, a new young wife. Now come back to me. That's the understanding there. Now, if a man want to take his wife back to him after another man was with her and shit like that, and maybe there could be special cases where she changed her, she got a real change of heart. Okay, understandable. You got a real change of heart and shit. But if you not have a real change of heart, you just bouncing around and shit. No, I wouldn't want to take you back. But this is what the Most High is saying: change of heart shit. Your ancestors was fucked up. They didn't have a change of heart. They died in the fucking wilderness. But they had children that went into the promised land. Okay, they will come back to me. So still considered my people. Come back to me as the same lover. So in the same sense, if you had a wife, she was a piece of shit when she was young, and she didn't want to, she didn't want to admit to that she was a piece of shit. She just was pretty and young, soft-spoken and shit, but she had issues and shit, and she was a piece of shit. But you left her ass, or she left you, or whatever the case. In my case, she left me. My wife left me. I was trying to work it through, understanding life is fucked up. But she left me, or you left her, or whatever. She went around and been with many different men, just trying to survive and eat and shit like that. But she started to soften up as she started getting older. She was like 19 or some shit. Now she like 30-something years old and shit. She's really understanding life a bit better. The whole moon thing you was fussing about, and she was fussing about, she understand, oh, right, because it's, right. She sat down one random day and looked at it and was like, oh, 31 days. So I'm off. So it took her a long ass time to sit down and remember what her husband said. The months be off and shit. So it's not gonna be even. It's gonna always be off. So she's off and shit, and realized it herself. I'm like, oh, I want to come back to my husband. After you got a whole new family, 5,000 children and shit like that, you want to go back to your husband because you was wrong about that thing and what he was trying to say. Just let's deal with that later. That could have been your 1,000-year long. You still with him. Oh, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, it's how it be sometimes, baby. But y'all still together. You hung in there. There was no reason to divorce. It was just a difference of doctrine or a difference of a viewpoint and shit. No reason to divorce. I'm not sinning. I'm not committing adultery on you. I'm not cheating on you. I'm not fucking no bitches out there. I'm going to work. There's women out there dying to just have a regular-ass working man to work for them, no matter what kind of man he is. Rolling Stone or fucking. They just want a man that's working and taking care of them. You went the distance. I'm working like a motherfucker for you and shit, not cheating on you or nothing. You took a doctrinal issue and made it a matter. Now you with some random ass niggas that don't give a fuck about you. They'll probably cheat on you in a second and shit, because you left your husband for them, and they know that, so they like can't really trust you and shit. So, verse 2, lift up your eyes to. So that's different, But there's another verse here that I want to get into. That is my situation. So, when the Most High said, they say, but come back to me. Verse 20 says, surely as a wife treacherously departs from her husband, so have you dealt treacherously with me, O house of Israel, says Yahweh. All right, treacherously. What is treacherous for the children? What is treacherous? Treacherous is like betrayal, or like a broken promise. Or rather, you have a promise with me. You promised to marry me, but you like somebody else, and you made a promise to marry that guy and betray the promise you have with me. So you broke the promise with me to make a promise with another person. The same type of promise. So I'm married already. I have a promise to marry him. But just be with me. Promise to marry me and leave that. So you left the promise with me and went to promise to marry him. And then you married him and kept your promise with him instead of with me. So surely as a wife, treacherously, that's treacherous. You break your promise to make a promise with someone else. So you, as a wife, treacherously departs from her husband. Make a promise with another man. So have you dealt treacherously with me. So that's what's saying with the Most High's case is that you have a covenant with the Most High, which is a promise with the Most High to serve him. But you went and served other gods like bull gods, cows and shit like that. You serving other random shit, but you have a promise with him, a covenant with him, But when you break the covenant, you leave your protection. So without that protection, nations destroy us, and we always in slavery throughout the years and shit. Simple as that. You broke a promise. But when you do everything in your power to keep that promise, he protects you and destroy the nations for you and shit. But as it continues on, it says, return you backsliding children. In verse 22, return you backsliding children, and I will heal your backslidings. Behold, we come to you, for you are Yahweh our Elohim. So, yes, you a treacherous wife. You're a piece of shit. You fine as shit, though. Fine as shit. The flubbly bubblies, the jiggly jugglies, pussy wet as shit. You pretty as a motherfucker. Niggas will do any fucking thing. They hit backflips off the top of a roof and shit. and hope that they land on their feet and don't break their legs and shit. They be flipping like a motherfucker. You about to die. You still making sure you fantastic before you hit the ground and die and shit. But then you don't get the girl and you fantastic as shit for her ass. Cause she pretty as shit, pussy wet as shit. She gave you a side eye, some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's crazy. You know, that's what it be. But the women just be crazy, yo. You know, and they could take advantage of their beauty. And then they can be treacherous and shit with their husband, and then other men take them from them, they covet, which is envious desire. You must not covet. Okay. So it's verse 17. You must not covet or enviously desire your neighbor's house. You shall not covet or enviously desire your neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is your neighbor's. So you must not enviously desire your neighbor's wife. Okay? For example, the reason why I said enviously desire, because there are special cases of the case of the levirate marriage. When you take your dead brother's wife, you may not desire her, but then your brother could pass away for a general reason, like, you know, that had nothing to do with you. Now, you're desiring her, but you know that's your dead brother's wife, but you never desired her before. You didn't covet. Now you have a desire towards her. It can look like you could have coveted his wife and shit like that. So people could try to proclaim covetousness upon you for wanting to be with your dead brother's wife, but it could have been, you know, no, I did not enviously desire my brother's wife. Like, I just desire her now that he's passed on, or whatever the case, or something like that, or whatever the case. I desire her, you know, outperform the levirate type stuff. So yeah, I say enviously desire for the sake of special cases. All right, so enviously desire, but you can desire when it's proper, you know. But you envied that's your brother's wife. She don't belong to you. You envious of your brother, and now you're desiring what he got because you envy what he got, and you didn't do what he did to get what he got. You're just an envious ass piece of shit. So that's that. You must not. You must not covet or enviously desire your neighbor's house. You must not enviously desire your neighbor's wife. All right? Or anything that belongs to him. And that's the 10th commandment. By breaking this commandment, you break all of them. And there's a story that goes into it. I'm going to read it another time. A story that goes into it about how adultery works through covetousness. It went through all of the commandments too. By coveting your neighbor's wife, you did something to set up, and you stole his neighbor's wife, and then both of y'all lied about it. And then by both of y'all lying about it, you know, because you were in the act of adultery, you know, you ended up being a murderer, you know, by murdering, you know, you ended up murdering your brother or whatever the case. You murdered his future and shit like that. You end up having children by him. So now the children that you have through his wife are honoring a wrong guy that's not his, you know, not supposed to be their father and shit. So now, you know, they're dishonorable to their father and shit like that, you know. So it's like, what the fuck? And now you breaking the Sabbath day, you can't get rest and shit like that because you have envy, you have guilt in your life and shit, you know. And because you got guilt in your life, it would just went through the whole commandments about it, you know. And you took the Most High's name in vain, you know, you sweared falsely in his name and shit like that. You know, by swearing and making oaths and shit and saying and making promises that you didn't lie. And I'm telling you, I promise I didn't lie. It's just his fault because you're trying to cover your tracks. So now you swearing false oaths in the name of the Most High, trying to cover your tracks and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And then there was a false image by serving a false God by you. It's crazy. It went on and on and on. And all the way to the end where you basically declined the Most High of being your Elohim. You closed the door on him through all of this shit. But just by coveting, you close the door on the Most High because you basically broke every commandment by committing adultery or being covetous, desiring what another man has. That's why I said covetousness is a breach of all of the commandments. When you break that one, you break all of them. So I'll read it another time. It's a good read. I'll read it another time, not now. I just wanted to get that through and just let you know what the Most High feel about it. Even though the Most High tell you in Deuteronomy, it tells you that your wife can't come back to me. It says in other places, you know, that if a man, it shows mercy at the same time. Because you could restrict, you could be mad as shit in the heat of a moment. But 20 years could have passed, 30 years could have passed. Y'all still alive, you know, and your wife could have changed a whole lot. Now she want to come back to you, you know. And to say, like, you know, shall not the land be greatly polluted, but you have played the harlot with many lovers, yet return again to me. Okay? So that be time. Time changes people, help people understand things, and you come back, you know. But when you still with another man, you can't come back, right? If you're in the arms of another man, how do you come back to your husband? You know, you could end up looking like an adulterer and shit. So you fucking this woman and shit, and you with the new man like, you know, this my wife and shit, cause she not saying shit, this my wife, and you fucking her and shit, like, actually she's my first wife and shit, like she's my wife first and shit, and those children, like Nabina, that's my daughter for real, and that's my son and shit, you know, so you actually with a woman that these my children of, and this was my first wife, so I really don't give a fuck for real. I'm still having sex with my wife, cause I never been with another woman. I still keep my vows. You keeping your vows, you didn't break your vows, but she broke the shit out of hers. You came out of nowhere. Still, you don't want to do that because it pollutes shit. Because she's still with another man. Or she could have left that other man. If she left of him, it could be crazy, right? It depends on a special case. It can fuck shit up or it can repair shit depending on the situation. But with my wives, my ex-wives, they left me and ended up with other men. You know? And it's like, I don't, you know, when am I supposed to feel? You know what I'm saying? What am I supposed to feel when my wife left me, but she making it look like I left her, or making it look like I'm guilty? You know, she set me up, called the police and shit. Her and her mother don't like each other for real. My second wife, her and her mother don't like each other for real, but that's your daughter, so you gonna look out for her because that's your daughter. She got children now, but I don't like you at all and shit. But it's like, okay, so make him leave. That's what it was. Called the police on me and said I was the issue, but it was her mother fighting. It's crazy, right? Because her mother was in love with me. I came home from work one day, and my wife's mother, when we moved back into her house, because our lease was up and we was looking for another spot, so we was there temporarily doing DoorDash, and so we had our daughter. My son was just born, but one day I came home from work before that, and she was like, "Honey, you're home." Her mother called me honey and tried to reach in for the hug and kiss. Because my wife still got lust issues. She's having sex with a guy named Joe or some shit. You know, he got the muscle shirt on with the muscles popping out, fucking the shit out my wife while I'm at work and shit. And this nigga not working at all. This nigga hustling. But the thing is, like, why would you stand there and watch us get married? You got all these fucking feelings and emotions and shit and let her marry this guy. But you know what I'm saying? You don't give a fuck about what's going on with this guy. Like, damn, this guy came out his way to marry you for real. You not thinking and shit. You just looking like, damn, he married her. He a good guy and shit. Like, yeah, why you fucking with the good guy and shit? You so busy focused on her, you not focused on the fact that you fucking him up. You know what I'm saying? He could have been with somebody else or just stayed alone. Now you fucking his life up. He got children and shit, running around. I'm running to Utah trying to get my daughter, still not giving me my daughter back and shit. I'm like, man, fuck it. I'm taking the Jeep. Now I got Utah tags on the Jeep and shit because y'all fucking me up. Because y'all got lust issues. You just love fucking the shit out of each other. Crazy, you know? But yeah, I also did. I mean, it was the thing that I was good in the situation. I wouldn't even, for the sake of knowing that my wife, you know, was committing adultery on me, I didn't commit adultery on her. I stayed faithful to her, you know, trying to work things out, you know, giving her a fair chance. And then the fair chance got exhausted, you know. When you say a fair chance, you got to mean that. I gave you a fair chance all the way, so now you can't come back to me because you played me the whole way. Thinking like, dang, why you not getting the picture? The reason why I'm giving you a fair chance, so that when that fair chance is over, I ain't got to ever come back to you. You know? I could just tell people what you did to me. You cluffing niggas' balls and shit. Joe, whatever. Her mother's boyfriend or her mother's new boyfriend or something like that. They in the living room, I come down the stairs in the middle of her cluffing his balls and shit. She got the cluffing, she's clutching and cuffing his balls and dick at the same time. Like, she's just like, he all in her face and shit. They not talking. I come down the stairs, she cluffed the shit out that. Cluffed his balls. She got him on her arm and shit. His dick resting on her arm and she's just cluffing this shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Why is you cluffing that nigga? I ain't say nothing. I was like, what the fuck? Man, I'm like looking for a way to get out. I'm like thinking shit, waiting for her to talk to me and shit. Maybe she trying to say something to me. Waiting for her to say something. Cause I'm thinking all kinds of things. She ain't say shit. And, you know, just want me to get the picture like, yeah, I'm still giving you a fair chance. You know what I'm saying? Why so it's like, all right, the fair chance is over with. We got a daughter and shit. We got children and shit. And cluffing niggas' balls. You got fucking issues, So still at the same time, her mother was getting reactive. Like, yo, I'm about to take your fucking husband because I see you. But she not saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing. But I didn't do the disrespectful thing to, cluff her mother's titties and shit. Yeah, her mother don't really got breasts, but still, I could have cluffed her and shit. I could cluff your mother's pussy and shit. Put my fingers up in there and cluff that shit. I'm gonna cluff your mother's pussy with my fingers inside and start kissing her. Just like I didn't do that, You cluffing, but I ain't cluff. But that's the thing, even to this very day, why I got the Utah truck. It's the rage level of the cluff, So it's like that energy still lives, man. If I come back around her mother trying to fuck, she ain't not trying to hear shit. She want to suck dick and fuck instantly because your daughter's, fucking your husband or your boyfriend and shit like that. And I didn't know. She knew. Then I found out later shit started going down. They called the police on my ass before they got exposed and shit. I don't want to be exposed, so you called the police on me, make me look like the bad guy. What I should have did was take my daughter with me. Don't say shit, just take my daughter with me. Get on the Greyhound bus and go with me. Like, nah, my daughter, she going with me. We going to go visit grandma and them. And don't ever come back and shit. Just tell the police that I said I'm going to go to my grandmother's house and let my daughter visit my grandmother. And, my son can stay behind because he's still young and the baby, she got to breastfeed and shit. Just going to take a little visit, and then we'll come back and shit. But don't ever come fucking back. I should have did that, but I'm not thinking she was going to play me. Like, just go and, prepare a place and then I'll come with you. She didn't make it look like that. She said that, but she ended up leaving me and divorcing me when I got a 2-bedroom, 2-bed, 2-bath. And I was like, yeah, come on. She was already left me and shit. She didn't want me to get my daughter. She didn't let me see my daughter or nothing. She just kept inventing shit. She had the password to my email and shit and was deleting my emails and shit. Deleting my emails. That's why I got a list that say, I got a folder that says angry wife and shit. And it was all of the conversation that we was having that she had my password to and was deleting. She took my marriage certificates that I had with Jenny. I had the marriage certificate still, and I kept them as a sign to say that I actually married her and I didn't leave her. To say I wasn't this random guy in the Philippines just fucking this girl. I had the marriage certificates. So she took them and shit. They set me the fuck up, yo. Set me the fuck up hard as shit. I'm not thinking that they gonna do that. Because you see me doing well. Well, he got marriage certificates. That's a good sign that he has a good intention. But you took my good intentions from me to make me look like a bad person. Why? You gotta be a devil, a demon or some shit like that to be doing that to good people. Like, you see a good person and just wanna make them not be good and shit. How the fuck you feel like that? Instead of say, nah, that's good, yo, he a good guy, yo, he got a marriage certificate, he be trying to really marry women and stuff. He not really trying to play with people. He's trying to be a real husband and shit, a real father figure, a real father, a real husband. He really got a good heart. You don't want to do that to him. Instead of step back and say that, you take it the distance and start setting obstacles and shit, trying to fuck him up. You can't come back from that. You go straight to hell because you really trying to fuck a man up. That's good and doing things the right way. You intentionally doing that. You're not just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? So, anyway, man, my time, I need to stop. I gotta go charge my phone, go to the library and shit. Anyway, with that said, man, I want to let it go. I just said what I needed to say. I gave you the information. Why do you want the information? You already knew it was going to be not my fault. You already knew I was going to be innocent in the whole situation. But now that you know that I'm innocent and my wife's left me, And with my first wife, I was trying to work it out with her and come back with her. But she was a maid at somebody's house or some shit in Cavite. And I was trying to work it out with her. But it wasn't working. It wasn't working. Like, how am I gonna get back to the Philippines? They blacklisted me. I couldn't get her to America. I can't go back to the Philippines. So I was just like, she ended up with a different life, man. So I let it alone, and I tried again with Tanika. It was like, I'll just try with Tanika. Gave her a fair chance. So whatever, man. I just wrote it off as polygyny, and like, I'll just be with her and stuff, and you out there you living in another man's house. And you're his maid. I already knew he was fucking you, so I was like, well, forget it, man. So you in the arms of another man. You went with your ex. You already was doing shit like that. So why come back and shit now that you know I'm good and I got money again and I got food and shit? You want to come back because you hungry, but it's not gonna work. It's gonna end again.
So it's the wrong reason to come back. So it wasn't working. But with Tanika, it's the same shit. She got white privilege, Caucasian privilege and shit. So she's never gonna come back. She could just ride on Caucasian privilege, you know. But taking my daughter from me was the worst thing and shit like that. Like that ain't got nothing to do with me raising my daughter to be a moral young girl, so she won't be an escort or some fucking hoe or some shit like that. You know, what she thinking is I'm gonna be a perverted guy. I guess that's what she thinking. But no, you gotta teach your daughter, yo, how to be an upstanding woman, a good woman. You know, you got men out here that don't teach nothing to their daughters. They just be trying to be hyper protective fathers and shit. I'm gonna whip his ass if you talk to boys. It's as far as it go with fathers, but they don't be teaching their daughters how to be a young woman according to what the creator want. That's what I'm supposed to do. But you wrote me off as this guy that was going, you know what I'm saying? Piece of shit. But the real reason is that if I go back and try to get my daughter, it's gonna be a clash between her mother and her. And if I come back to get Nabina's grandmother, you know, Rachel, is going to try to be in a relationship with me. And, you know, Nabina's mother, Tanika, is not trying to have that. You know, it's going to be a clash. Like, well, if he's coming back to get his daughter, you know, we're going to be raising a daughter, like, not you. It's like she's trying to take, you know, it's crazy, man. She wanted to take my daughter from her instead of me. It was crazy how it was, the feelings and emotions, man, with Rachel. But I understand. You fucking her. You know your daughter's fucking your new husband and shit. Your new boyfriend. She fucking the shit out of him and shit. So it's like, yo, of course you want to kill her ass, but it's your daughter, and she's not giving a fuck. She just think that she's the youngest, prettiest bitch out here in the world and shit with the fattest butt. That's her head fucked up. She thinks she got the fattest butt in the world, and niggas can't resist and shit. She just live in Utah. If she went to the hood or some shit, she would not be getting played like that. They be looking at her, yo, why you sound like a white girl, yo? Can you get away from me? That's what it's gonna be. Why you sound like a white girl and shit? Get away from me. She ain't gonna get no play and shit. People ain't gonna trust her at all. So in Utah, yeah, she get privilege and shit because she's a rarity. You don't see no black people like that in Utah. She's a rarity and shit. So it's like, yeah, everybody trying to hit it. So yeah, she got power and shit, privilege and shit. She got family members that's Caucasian immediately. You know what I'm saying? So stuff like that. But it's like, yo, why y'all feeling like I'm the bad guy? Your Caucasian family feeling like I'm the bad guy and shit like that. It's not me. It's Rachel and her mother. Rachel and her daughter are clashing with each other. But they don't want to make it look like they having an issue with each other. So they put it on me. I'm sacrificing and shit for them. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. Sacrificing for a woman that's committing adultery on me and shit. You got to take your own shit. I can't cover for that. I can't cover for that. It's a sin worthy of death. I can't cover for your sin worthy of death because I didn't commit adultery on you. She started doing shit like not giving me sex and shit. You know, doing all kind of shit to make me try to cheat on her and shit. It's crazy. So that's why shit ain't working. And I'm out here, like, it's just fucked up, yo. So that's what y'all needed to know, what y'all want to know. And what the scriptures say about it. I didn't give her a bill of divorce. I did not approve or ascribe to her wanting to divorce me. Because according to the Torah, under the covenant of the Most High, according to the Torah, a woman is not allowed to divorce her husband for no reason. You have to have a probable reason in court. Like, what is your real reason? He's trying to murder you or something. Got to be something for real. Like, he's just a good man. So you want to divorce him because he worked for you and was making money and what? What she wrote in the divorce papers was that my husband took care of me. He paid all the bills. He made all the money. I didn't work. It looks stupid as shit. So why the fuck you leave? That's how it looked when you read the divorce papers. Why the fuck you leave him then if he paying the bills and shit? Bought you a car, taking care of her. You wasn't even on food stamps and shit. He was just working for your ass and shit. Why the fuck you divorced? So it looks stupid. Like you wasn't trying to really divorce him. It looked dumb as shit. You know, but you divorced and you with another man or in the arms of another man and shit like that. So it's just between her and her mother. Her mother's like, fuck no. Like, I can't have sex with my wife no more. You gotta have sex with me. It got like that. She got possessive. I'm your wife now. You won't be, I'm gonna be sucking your dick. You know, it's like, and if you don't give in to me and shit, you gotta get out. You know, cause you too faithful of a husband and shit. And I'm trying to get my pussy blown out. I want to get pregnant now. You know, and her mother started treating my daughter like her daughter. She's the grandmother, but she was treating Nabina like her own daughter. Like, this my daughter now, bitch. And this my husband now, bitch. I'm gonna kick you out, and we gon' is that's how it was. Cause you should have never cluffed her boyfriend's balls and shit. You cluffed the shit out of shit. She's mad. I'm not mad with her, but I am mad with her. I'm just taking different steps. I live for the Most High, so I'm still not gonna reward evil with evil. That's the script. Do not reward evil with evil. So it was crazy, but yeah, it should have been me and Rachel before her. Before all of that shit happened, should have been me and Rachel because we worked good together. You know, a good team as far as like she's a good mother for them and stuff, and I'm a good husband to my wife. But whenever we would come around and visit and stuff like that, it's a good teamwork, you know, stuff like that. To be honest, Joe, yeah, he be cooking up the you know the carne asada. I forgot. He be cooking up the beef sticks and shit. So it's like everybody be working together. It's a good team. But it's like, yo, ain't nobody trying to fuck nobody's wife and shit like that. The fuck? It's different. You know? Charles is the coolest one. Yo, he in there just playing Fortnite. He's just chilling. Then you got Big Charles, his father be popping up sometimes and stuff. So it's like Big Charles and then Rachel's boyfriend, they talking and chopping it up and shit because he's the ex and he's the ex-husband and you the new boyfriend husband guy. But you fucking the daughter and shit. You fucking Tanika, but she married and shit, and she cluffing your balls and shit. And then you fucking little Big Joe and shit, the tall guy that's named Joe too and shit. And you fucking Sean next door, and you sucking your brother's dick too, named DeAndre Jackson and shit. Like y'all just fucking mess. Y'all fucking mess out here. What's going on? Just doing whatever and shit, trying to control niggas. So if you give somebody some head or some sex, you can control them niggas by putting them in guilt. That's what her life ended up becoming, controlling niggas off guilt. But I married your ass, so you couldn't control me off guilt. So now you making up reasons like he got mental health issues. No, you got mental health issues. You know, you're trying to sub that shit on me. Third person that shit. She's trying to say that she got mental health issues. And something she's not right in the head and shit. Because everybody that knows know that I only took care of her. But what they got to do with my daughter? Give me my daughter. Before she had mental fucking health issues and her father can't teach her right. So yeah, man, I'm hot as shit in this fucking car. Hot as shit outside. It's highest in the sky with this bitch. I'm sweating and shit. Trying mad as shit. But yeah, that's my issue. That's why I'm homeless and shit. Trapped in the trucks and fucking where? In a Jeep and shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to live at all. Y'all want to fucking die. I don't even want to. You know what I'm saying? It's mad as shit. I did all this so that I can get my daughter. Niggas not trying to give me my daughter or give me custody of my daughter. Lawyers don't answer my phone calls and shit like that. Not trying to answer my phone call. I called a couple lawyers. Ain't none of them answer my phone calls and shit. The one lady charged me $100, but she didn't answer the phone no more and shit like that. Like, man, I was like, for a consultation, she charged me $100. You know, like, it's gonna be worth it if you. I'm like, no, it's not worth it. You just trying to charge. Like, I was like, yo, you just trying to charge me shit I don't got. But I was still willing. But it was like, let me see if they got other lawyers that's, you know, give me free consultation and shit. Nobody was out there. I was like, all right, I'm about to go back to the $100 lady. Still not answering my phone calls and shit like that. Or answering my emails and shit like that. Like, fuck it. Fuck it, man. They're not giving me custody of my daughter. They just want money and shit. Now I gotta wait till her to get older, or I don't even have to wait. It just be the woman. It be the mother and shit. All she gotta do is be like, okay, go see your father, and that all that shit over with. Everybody, the court system, the judge, everybody get blown away and shit. It's like you done shot a nuclear bomb on everybody by saying, okay, you can go see it. No, boom, blew everybody up. No, the money. No, $100 consultation. You done blew everybody up. Got everybody in your hands and shit by saying, okay, she can see her father and shit. She can be with her father and stay with her father and shit like that. But you not saying yeah is empowering the shit out the government system. It's like y'all got power like a motherfucker. Women got power like a motherfucker when they take a man's daughter or child or shit. I got your daughter. I got your son. The government be like, yeah, that money. All she gotta do, like, that's okay. We're gonna come to an agreement between each other, and she can see him and shit. And the courts be mad and shit. No, I could have got thousands of dollars out of that. It's crazy, yo. Women got too much power, yo. Especially when you don't have a right heart. You got too much power because you're not in the right mind. So it's crazy, yo. Making money off of deadbeat women or women that don't have good hearts or good minds on their shoulders. Be making money off of them. Oh, you're a piece of shit ass woman. You definitely gonna put them on child support. So they sit back and watch that shit. Then she put them on child support. Yeah, get this money. You got a good man, and it's like, the fuck. but you still want the money, so you ain't saying shit type shit or helping me. Whatever the case. Yeah, but with her mother was fussing over some fucking heat bumps and shit. It's hot in the room and shit, and we was trying to blow the fan. She got the swamp cooler going, or whatever the case, and my son was getting heat bumps, heat rashes and shit. I'm like, you gotta keep him cool tonight. You gotta keep him cool. Take him in the tub, keep him cool, keep the cool water on him. If since the fan I work the swamp cooler not really keeping it cool, you gotta keep him cool. Just put him in the tub, run some cool water on him, and just keep him in there for a while. Maintain him and entertain him and stuff, and keep him cool. Or just get the tub, put some water in the baby tub thing, and sit them in it in the room. We can sit them in it in the room, but you can just keep them cool in the water and stuff like that. So you can just keep splashing water on him, so he won't, like, if every time he starts sweating, splash water on him and stuff, or rub water on his body and stuff like that. He can be like a small mini little swimming pool and shit, and rub water around it, wash his face, wipe his face off here time to time, wash his hair and stuff like that. He got the little mini pool. His bathtub is a mini pool because it's hot, And the Bina, she's okay. We can just take her a bath later. She running around somewhere and shit. I could just give her a bath later or whatever the case. Come on, Ben, let's take a bath. I wash my daughter up. My wife didn't even want to wash up. She never washed her, ever, until they caught the police on my ass and kicked me out. My wife ain't do shit. She wouldn't wash her or nothing. I always wash my daughter because I knew how to take care of her, wash her so that the soap wouldn't get in her eyes or run water in her eyes. She didn't know how to take care of a baby. Even my son, she didn't wash him. I washed my son. So it was crazy, but she had to learn. So I guess her mother was mad at that too. Like, why the fuck you ain't? Why the fuck you not taking care of your daughter? Like, why you not washing her? Wash her. Learn. It's like she calling in her energy. She trying to sub through me right now. Like, bitch, learn how to do that shit. Bitch, wash your own daughter. Bitch, da-da-da. But they don't like each other, so it's like that, yo. I'm sorry. So she yelled at me in place of her grandmother don't like it either and shit. Like, my granddaughter a piece of shit. She got a good ass man, go to work hard as shit. You know how hard it is to get a working man from the hood that just work. Imagine I was still in the hood in the projects. I got a cable job. All the girls in the hood, like, yo, the single mothers, baby mother shits, like they want EBT and shit like that, living in the projects on Section 8. See a man doing cable, making money, doing right with his money, saving his money right and shit, making good decisions. They about to wisen up shit. I got fuck out of here. I'm pretty, I'm this and that shit. You know what I'm saying? And they were like, hell yeah, give me a working man and shit. Dying to get a working man, dying to have a father in the child's life. They don't got white privilege or Caucasian privilege to just run to another man and just, they don't got that privilege. They in the hood, in the projects. You get Caucasian privilege and shit. You just run to another Caucasian ass nigga and he'll just take care of your ass and shit for some pussy and shit. Or just take care of your ass just so I won't come back and shit. So that's it. He's just being in the way and shit. He don't really give a fuck about you. He just want to be in the way. Just want to stop you from getting your husband back or stop him from getting his daughter and shit. So now he taking care of your ass by default. Women in the hood don't get that by default shit. Ain't no Caucasian man gonna come in the projects and shit with all these women looking like roaches to them and shit and try to pull them out the hood and take care of them shit just so a hood nigga won't. No, they not trying to do all that. So it's different. But yeah, man. So I was able to get this Jeep, yo, because I was hardcore. I was grinding hard as shit with Uber. Grinding hard as shit. 11-hour shifts every day, nigga. I wasn't playing. 11 hours, nigga. Almost about to cut the app off every day and shit. Come like get up extra early, 5 in the morning and shit. I'm out there 5 in the morning early, getting that money and shit. Niggas like, damn, this nigga 5 in the morning. I gotta get out there early before the motherfucking supervisors start taking my jobs from me and shit, and I start getting $4 jobs and shit. So if I get out there early, I can get some money before they start waking up like, oh, this motherfucker, he got up at 4 o'clock in the morning. No, they mad as shit. Start trying to give me them $4 jobs and shit. I'm like, yeah, beat that nigga before I got a couple dollars before that $4 start coming. They just get mad as shit because I kept preempting them and shit. So I was like, yeah, riding police too, different shifts and shit. The police, they be like, no, he got me and shit. Predicting the police like, he got me. And I start making money and shit. Then they got mad. Send this nigga to all the way out to, send him to the mountains and shit, Park City and shit. Mad as shit. Trying to stop me from making money because I got up extra early in the morning, so they want to give me a different route. A man going somewhere for no reason and shit, give me a different route, somewhere where I ain't gonna make no money. He took me to Sundance. Nigga, take your ass to Sundance and shit. The movie channel Sundance. It took a nigga out Sundance. Ain't no signal or nothing out there, snowing and shit. They was trying to stop me. But I was grinding every day. I'm out there, shorty. I'm out there, make my money I need to make and shit like that. Got my apartment and shit. I was good. You know, that was good. Got the Jeep and shit, making money payments. And I wasn't just making payments on the shit. I was making payments on the shit, and I'm spending like 200 plus dollars every time I visit because it was something that needed to be maintenance on the Jeep, or I get an oil change or this or that. I was always looking out for the dealers too. Cause I'll take the Jeep back to the dealer and they'll do an oil change or they'll fix this, do something with the brakes, flush the system, the fuel system, something they was doing, flushing this, maintaining the Jeep, paying them and shit. Cause I noticed that Westlake Financial wasn't paying them and shit. Like, damn, they taking all the interest and shit and not giving the principal to the, like, damn, the first payment wasn't even no principal. The second payment was $35. They playing the shit out of Axial Auto. So I was like going up there, like they was like asking for more money for maintenance on the Jeep, but it was really, they was mad because they wasn't getting paid because of me. They was raping me, raping them or some shit like that. It was crazy because they gave me a car, they start raping them, mad and shit. But whatever the case, they got mad. They got mad and started becoming a play and shit. Now I got the Jeep all the way out here where Westlake Financial is down the street some fucking where. I got the Jeep and shit in the area where the address is because they Axial Auto in the whole Utah mad as shit at Westlake Financial and shit. You know, I don't think they're going to forget that. But at the moment that they do forget that, you know, somebody about to get got. They're going to catch the setup. But whatever the case, I said enough, man. My wives, man, only had 2 wives. They both left me. One for food and one for lust issues. She just had issues with pretty faces and 6-packs. She just loved the way her fingers ripple across those 6-packs when she's sucking dick and shit. You know, she loved cluffing her mother's boyfriend balls and shit. You know, I love mother balls and shit. I love my mother's balls and shit. Mother's balls and shit. I love mother's balls and shit. That's a little children's story. Make it a children's story. Make it sound all innocent and everything. Mother's balls. You know, the little daughter in the story always going in the room playing with her mother's balls and shit. She loved cluffing them and shit. I love the fluffiness of the cluff, you know, and then it's making it sound like an innocent children's story. And the mother's like always angry in the story because in the story, the real life, the mother's never angry. But in the story, the mother's real angry. Stop touching my balls. And da-da-da-da. Then she breaks the balls and shit. I can't replace them and shit. So then the mother takes one of her balls and shit. You know, it's crazy. And then the daughter's mad too. Don't tell them that's my balls. And it's crazy. Mother's balls. So she loved cluffing, you know, she loved cluffing mother's balls and shit. Mother's balls. So yeah, man. That's why I don't have a wife and shit. Mother's balls and, you know, biggest. You know, my wife had oh no, he got on a shirt. She loved men with shirts and shit. Men with shirts and shit. Philippines, that's a real soap opera in the Philippines. If you go to Quezon City, you be like, hey man, I got an idea, man. Let's make a soap opera called Men with Shirt. You know, a lalaki shirt or something like, what you want to call it? Lalaki na shirt or something. We're going to call it something. Men with shirts and shit. Men with shirts. And they watching that shit. Oh, men with shirts. Men with shirts is good, shorty. These men with shirts and shit. They got suits and ties on and stuff. But it's called Men with Shirts because you know that in the Philippines, they don't wear shirts and shit. As soon as they wear a shirt, you got money or something. Or men with stomachs and shit. You know, it's funny. But that's what women be leaving men for dumb reasons. And they get with men for dumb reasons. So it never lasts. So it's hard to find a woman that's moral and not profane. As the Torah commands Levites, never marry a woman that's profane. She does not have a heart towards serving the Creator. She just want to be married and taken care of. She's not doing it to help you serve the Most High. You have to serve the Most High. She has to equally want to serve the Most High with you. Otherwise, she'll leave you when things get hard. So, that thing, man. So that's why I don't have a wife. So if you take that and connect that story to the Indian story with the cow worship and shit, your wife will worship a cow to get some food to eat. Just do it, baby, just do it. I mean, because it's keeping us alive and shit. She just want to eat and stay alive. He like, fuck that, I'm a man. Fuck I look like. And he leave her. She don't want to go with him. And then it's like, man, fuck that. So she go out the door. Okay, I'll be back, go to the store. Betray his ass. Get the niggas in the neighborhood to get his ass. He running for his life. She running with him and shit. He escaping shit. But she see his ass, but she ain't say nothing because she still love him and shit. But she gonna remember that shit that he ran away, but he gonna remember that shit that you got the niggas on her and shit. You know what I'm saying? And now he got away and shit. But she walked her like, have you seen him? Nah, I ain't seen him. I ain't seen him. Here goes some cake. And they had a celebration and ate some cake and shit. Now her name Doobie Cakes and shit. And he got away and shit. You know? And now it's just crazy. And never seen each other again. Like, he ain't gonna make it out there. He make it and found out. She found out through the grapevine. 30 years later, she found out. Get a letter from her husband. Hold on. He made it. Where he at? Yeah, I'm living a new life. And they got the commentator narrating and shit in the movie. I'm living a new life. And And then I got the pictures. You know, they cut screen to him and shit, walking around with his children and shit like that as she's reading the story and shit, the letter. She's with some family, the guy worshiping the cow right now and shit, and she's reading the letter and shit. But it says the letter said, you know, love Sarah, your auntie, or some shit like that. But it's your husband and shit because the clever things he's saying and shit. And he's like, your auntie, that's crazy, man. Your auntie, yeah, I got it. She's lying too and shit. Whole time after that letter, she balled that shit up, burned it up. Cook her last cow meal and shit with the you know, she secretly ate some cow with the letter and that she burnt and with to start a fire and shit as a purpose and shit. And then her whole life she started trying to find out where he at and shit. And that shit took 2,000 or something years. Now it's in the blood boiling. Now 2,000 plus years later, here it is. Doobie Cakes is born. She's found his ass, drunk a fan of soda in the camera and shit. I found your fucking ass. I'm gonna get your ass and shit. And now now you connected and shit, making music together and shit. You in sync again and shit. Now you like, I'm gonna get your ass and shit, cause you left me for something. But she got wiser and shit. Like, you right. Just eat the fucking steak and shit. It's just the cow and shit. You wasn't listening to your husband from before. Now you listening and shit. 2,000 plus years later through the grapevine and shit. It's crazy. But you still shocked that he made it and he got a new land for you. You got an official home. America is not America. This land that we living in is your actual real home now. It's a new official home. So all y'all out there stuck and shit, husbands done left you and come look for a new land. This is it. We just at war with these motherfuckers, so they came over here and try to take our shit. So it looks like it's their shit, but it's our shit, and we trying to fight for the shit. But we lost power because the brothers was flaking and shit. So it's still our land. We just trapped in that shit because they, got a bunch of people dictating our shit. They took our shit from us and they set a system to kind of hold us down so we can't get free, But this is your land. So yeah, properly America is your land. So if you set foot in this land the right way, you'll move right. You won't get trapped by the Caucasian people. You won't get trapped by Americans and shit because it's not their land. It's ours. It was given to us. We made it. Nobody was here when we first came here. And we first came here way back in the Syrian situation. In the Syrian situation, it was a different way they took. They took the Euphrates out towards where the UK is now, and went that way. But those of us who went different ways in India and stuff, heard about our brothers and stuff, we came down here. We went the south way. People took different ways, but we made it over here, regardless. We came later. Our story is India. The first story is Euphrates with Assyrian captivity. So that was way before 2,000 years ago. So our story is 2,000 years ago. about 2,000 years ago. But still, it's a lot of time. But yeah, Doobie Cakes, all of them. It's in your blood, so you can't, you got a styrofoam bat, and you gonna put some tape around that shit, because that shit gonna break. Because you gonna put some duct tape around it, and wrap the styrofoam bat, and then you trying to hit me with it, because you don't want your bat to break and shit. But you trying to beat my ass with that styrofoam bat, but you can't actually be mad. So, whatever the case, that's just the story. It's just a story, man. So there's no reason to really be mad or nothing like that. But with my situation, yeah, I have every reason to be mad. But women be young, and they have different minds. You gotta wait for them to get older and shit, like 40, 50 years old, start getting wrinkles for them to start being wise and shit. Women, they mature faster. No, you just know you're not really maturing faster. You mature faster, but you get wise slower. So when you get older, you finally get wise and shit. I'm sorry, baby. I thought you was more mature. So with that said, man, I'm gonna let it go, yo. It's just too much pain in the situation. So you know the story. I told you 1,000 times. All right. Shalom.